Perhaps the moon knows the secret of the new sound.
He's so bright and pull on the surfaces. He's so bright and they walking on my face. He's so bright and
Open your mind.
pull on the
Let us begin our quest to find the new sound.
I've got new. Nicey, nicey, zoo. I've got thrice.
Look at the shine, everything I need.
Zoo. I've got new. Nicey, nicey, zoo.
Okay, let's have fun.
better bedtime.
Nicey, nicey, zoo. I've got new. Zoo. Nicey, nicey, zoo. I've got new.
Look at the shine,
Nicey, nicey, zoo. I've got new. Zoo. Nicey, nicey, zoo. I've got new.
look at the shine.
He's so bright and bright, pull on the surfaces. He's so bright and they walking on my face. He's so bright and bright, pull on the surface, pull on the surface. He's so bright and they walking on my face. Better bet them.
Nicey, nicey, zoo. I've got new. Zoo. Nicey, nicey, zoo. I've got new.
Look at the shine,
Nicey, nicey, zoo. I've got new. Zoo. Nicey, nicey, zoo. I've got new.
Sound.
You must choose. Limbo Bimbo. My name is Mr. Susan. You must choose, and now it is time for you to do the choosing. I am Mr. Dean.
Zoo. I've got new.
You must choose.
Zoo. I've got thrice.
Look at the shine. I am Mr. Dean.
Zoo. I've got new.
You must choose.
Zoo. I've got thrice.
Look at the shine.
Trapped in cabinets.
Can I get out? Will it get out? Cause he will.
You like a single dime, Vince again. Single dime,
Better bet them.
you like a single dime.
They walking on my face.
Everything we need here. You like a single dime, Vince again. Single dime,
Better bet them.
you like a single
They
dime.
walking on my face.
I did a rhyme.
Better bet them.
Nicey, nicey, zoo. I've got new. Zoo. Nicey, nicey, zoo.
You better
I've got thrice.
Look at the shine.
Nicey, nicey, zoo. I've got new. Zoo. Nicey, nicey, zoo. I've got new. I've got new. Nicey, nicey, zoo. I've got new. Zoo. Nicey, nicey, zoo.
you better
I've got thrice.
Look at the shine.
Nicey, nicey, zoo. I've got new. Zoo. Nicey, nicey, zoo. I've got new.
Look at the shine.
Yeah, I did a song. Jupiter, I did a song. You ain't got one. Yeah. Oh, I feel sick.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another Darachat. My name is Daramouthe, or Dara for short, because people have trouble saying the full name. Unfortunately, it's like trying to go back to kindergarten once again. It's like, how do you say this word? Buh. No, that's apple. I'm sorry, you gotta go back again. But anyway, I'm here with the illustrious Slinger Games, which I gotta ask, is that because you slung something or what?
No, that goes back to my hockey days. This was my nickname at hockey. So
The
couldn't
sling-
come up, couldn't come up with anything original. It's so I was like, you know what, might as well just run with it.
Just call yourself the Slinger and have a nice day. You know.
Yep. I wasn't slinging goals, I can tell you that. I am not a goal scorer.
Oh man, don't sell yourself short like that. You know, let's be like, at least I tried. Okay, there's that one time, it was a miracle, and then people were like, oh, all right.
No, not to be egotistical, but I'm a pretty decent defenseman. So
Well, there you go. Well,
I'm keeping the puck out, not putting it in.
yeah. Well, there you go. At least it's something, right? At least you couldn't be like the guy who's just sitting there, like, guys, where do you want me at? No, just stay over there. Just stay over there in the corner.
Yep.
Because those are usually what they call them. They usually call them bench warmers, and
Yep.
or I don't know what they call them in Canada, but well, thank you for coming on. I can't remember. I think it was through the gaming on Rumble thing where it kind of found you at. I can't remember. To be honest, there's so many
I've
people.
I can actually tell you exactly how I found you.
Oh,
I was just floating on Rumble one night watching some live streams,
mm.
and oh, what was his name? Alpha Omega Zero, I think is what his name
No,
was.
Alpha Zero Omega. Yes.
Alpha Zero Omega, yeah.
Yep.
So I was
Yep.
watching his stream,
Uh,
and he rated you when he was done.
oh yeah.
And so I had actually gotten up to go do something, came
Yeah. Yeah.
back, and your show was on, and I'm like,
Oh,
"Oh, what's this? This is kind of cool." So I'm sitting there watching it, and I'm like,
yeah.
"This guy is the Joe Rogan of Rumble." Like, just he's doing the same thing. He's just talking with people. This is great. I love it. And
Yeah.
obviously, you have your all your socials and X and stuff like that. So I
Mm,
just hopped on and was like, "Hey, listen, I don't know if I'm a worthy person to have as a guest, but if you need to fill a spot, I would
yeah.
love to come on and chat." So
Yeah. No.
sent you a message, you responded, and here we are.
Yeah, yeah, well, and I keep telling people every single time towards, during when we do power hours, like, guys, look, there's these social places you can find me at. If you ask, you might be able to get on. Someone did, and it worked.
Yeah. Guys, ask the question. You never know. Like, just ask the question,
Just ask the
and
question.
good things happen.
Yeah. Well, I don't. There's not like gonna be money raining on you or something like that. I can't do that. I can't make you a better hockey player. That's not gonna happen.
No, nobody can do that.
Please, sir, can I be a better hockey player? You get back in line. Oh goodness. But no,
Uh,
yeah, Alpha Zero. For those who don't know, Alpha Zero Omega's been on before. He's a pretty cool Australian dude. Probably was he on his stream or was he with Hemp? Because I know
no,
he's.
he was live streaming World of Warcraft.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he does a whole bunch of different games, but he usually does that more in his free time because he is as far as I remember, he is a tutor, for different tech things. More like on the coding factor. I've seen him do stuff with like Bash and whatnot. So not saying that I've taken the lessons because you're not gonna find me that being that smart. Hey Bob, what up? But yeah, no, I'm glad to be able to do that because again, that's why I put that out there for because a lot
Yeah.
of different people, of course, with all the the gaming on Rumble stuff and all that, a lot of different people started popping up, and there's been all that connection stuff. So I do try to at least bring on a lot of new faces with returning faces, like yesterday with Geekstorian, because he hadn't been on a while. He hadn't been on for like 6 months. It's like, my gosh, that's a long time.
Yep.
Well, actually, you know what? I just remembered it was 6 months to the date because I think it was. Oh, I better recheck this because I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Hold
June
on. I gotta recheck.
17th.
Well, I want to make sure because I could be wrong. So I gotta look up.
That was a great show yesterday, by the way.
Oh, thank you. No,
Actually,
20. Sorry, it
sorry,
was
go
the
ahead.
27th. It was the 27th, so it was not exactly on the right.
Not
So,
exactly 6 months. No, I was just gonna say before we get too far into stuff, I did want to say thank you so much for having me.
no problem.
Super awesome that I could just reach out and you're willing to have me on. And
Yeah.
like genuinely, thank you so much for taking the time to put me on. And Merry Christmas to you and all your
You
viewers.
too.
And I
Here's.
want my Christmas jacket just for you guys. See,
Oh, yeah.
there's a
It's
snowman on there.
the snowmen are a bit upside down though.
Well, there's other ones. Here, can I stand up here? There's
Yeah,
other
yeah.
ones. See, yeah, they're all over the
Oh,
place.
okay. So it's a sort of like a up down sort of thing. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like the ugly Christmas sweater of suit jackets.
Does it keep you warm though?
No, this is cheap polyester crap. And
What?
I'm gonna lose it too because it is not comfortable at all. I just wore it for the intro here.
Oh, okay. And then you're just like, can someone start the fire, please? I've got something that needs to go in.
Yeah. I was just speaking of fires too. Yesterday when you were talking with the
Geekstorian.
Geek Story, and yeah, you guys were talking about like fireplaces and heating your houses. I'm just
Yeah.
like sitting there. I'm like, oh, I have so much to say on this. I have such a good story. I'm so glad I'm going on tomorrow. I want to tell how my house was heated growing up.
Oh yeah,
So,
wood burning stove, I guess.
well, we had a wood burning stove in our kitchen,
Mm,
and we actually did cook on it.
mm.
And there's one of those ones, where it's like got a top and you can put stuff on the
Yeah,
top. So
yeah,
we
those
had
cast iron
this,
ones. Yeah.
yeah, we had a pot that was like an
Mm.
oval shape, and it had a lid that was a dragon. Like the
Interesting.
top half of a dragon. So you
Uh,
would fill it with water and put like cinnamon sticks or whatever else in it, and the
yeah.
steam would come out its nostrils. So
Ah,
it looked
oh,
like this dragon,
nice.
like little,
Yeah.
smoke coming out its nose.
Mm.
And we also had one of those. I don't know if you've ever seen them. It's like a fan. It's got like this stand, and when it heats up, it actually generates electricity, and the fan starts to spin.
Oh, okay.
There's a name
Interesting.
for those, and I can't. It's eluding me right now. But we had one
Mm,
of those. But anyways, we
mm.
used that all the time as a secondary source of heat. But our
Oh,
primary source of heat was we had in-floor or radiant heat. So there was basically
okay.
tubes running through the floor with
Yep.
water in them
Yeah.
that would get heated up by a different wood burning boiler.
Yep.
So that was in the basement, and we
Mm,
basically had to keep that fire going all winter, and that would
damn.
heat the water, which then circulated through the floors and
Mm,
kept the house warm.
nice.
The reason we did that was because it was cheaper. So my dad, being the financially frugal man that he is, was
Yeah.
like, "You know what would be way cheaper? If I made my kids burn a fire all winter long."
So-
Because we didn't have natural gas or anything. We were kinda out in
Right.
the boonies, and,
Yeah.
yeah, so he would get 8 bush cords of
Mm,
chopped wood delivered every summer,
wow.
and that's a 8 bush cords probably equivalent to, like, a shipping container, like an 8-foot by 8-foot by 40-foot long.
Oh, wow.
It was
Sheesh.
a lot of firewood, and,
Goodness.
we're kids, it's summer vacation, we're off school, we're looking forward to it, and as soon as we saw my dad's truck pull in the driveway, we'd be like, "Oh, no. We're gonna have to pile wood." So he
Curses.
he would come in, we'd have dinner, and be like, "All right, let's go. We gotta pile wood." And we would pile wood for like an hour or 2 hours, right? And it was just like,
Mm.
as a 11-year-old, it was the most agonizing thing ever, right? We're just like piling wood, like, "Oh."
No, because we had to do that too, because we had my parents had a wood burning stove in their basement as well. And it was sort of, it's not one that was connected to water or anything. It had like blowers, and then it had like all the stone inside it where you could just
Yeah,
put it
yeah.
and then take out and all that stuff. And so I think it was like down, if there was a storm, we'd get down trees, or it was just a lot of extra work, because my dad had the chainsaw and do all these things. And after a certain point, they had stopped and gone back to gas, because the reason why we use it is because cheaper or whatever. It's manpower and time,
Yeah.
rather than just paying like for gas, whatever. I don't know what it is for up there, but it can be a pain depending on what state you're in. So they haven't. It's still down in their basement. They haven't touched it or used it. Well, I will say this: the reason why they couldn't use it anymore, or the reason why they had trouble wanting to use it again, is because the gas company, or the gas utility, whatever you want to call it, had come and they had seen that it was connected into the same chimney as
Mm.
the water heater. And so they said, you can't do that. And so and so that was the thing that changed started on the downtrend of not having that wood burning stove going. Because hey, Davey Verse, how are you, good sir? That's what started on that downtrend of going, because then you can't really fight the city for doing that. I mean, you try, but they're gonna run you out of money.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's best just to kind of stop doing that and all that stuff. So it's just been sitting down there forever. But no, it was nice, because the house itself was built in the 20s, so it's not really insulated well. And yeah, it could be a bit of not even the windows. Like some of the windows still had that old pulley system, right, with like a
Yeah,
rope
yeah.
and a weight in it. It was not a fun time during the winter, but it could keep the house warm at around 80 degrees, or whatever it means in Celsius for you guys. Uh, Freedom units is what we call
Yeah,
them.
freedom units. What's funny is most people up here, well, maybe not
Mm.
necessarily my generation, but the generation before me, everyone's thermostat is in Fahrenheit.
Really?
So it's like outside temperature, Celsius, inside temperature, Fahrenheit. But for me, my thermostat is set to Celsius, just because
Mm,
it's like, I know 25 Celsius outside is a nice, summer day.
mm,
So in the winter, I want my house to be 22. That way it's, not too hot, not too cold. But
mm.
my dad, his is Fahrenheit. But when it comes to a thermostat, I couldn't tell you what's what, right?
Yeah.
Um, I was gonna say, with your parents' house with the built in the 20s, did it have the really old glass windows where it was like thinner at the top and thicker at the bottom?
I would say I don't remember. I just know that it had the weights at the side, and when you would pull it up, those weights on the side would come down. But they
Yeah.
were thin panes. They
Yeah, yeah.
weren't like storm windows, which are the double pane, which are what help keep in heat. But they were
Yeah.
single pane. Again, these were old windows. And they replaced some of them, but there's still like the insulation factor, which is just wood and plaster at a certain point. So
Yeah.
there is that. But for
The
what
windows where you sneeze too hard and they shatter, right? Because 'Cause they're so
oh,
thin.
well, if you sneeze onto the window and bust your hand window through, so there's that. Because yeah, it is just it's just one of those things. My dad is over time a place, but they had bought a cabin, um, in the state of Michigan, and they had put more time and energy and keeping bringing that up to date, making it look better and all that stuff, rather than their own home, because their own home sort of like pitch patched sort of together, and all that stuff. So
Hey, Davey, thank you. Sorry, I'm interrupting you. Celsius is king.
yes,
Celsius is 100% king. Water freezes at 0. It's so easy.
32 degrees Fahrenheit. Anyway,
Yep.
I know where it's at. Don't you tell me what's wrong.
Hey, fun fact. Let's see if you know this. I'm gonna grill you.
What?
At what point does Celsius and Fahrenheit meet where the temperature is the exact same number for both?
Hmm. Well, we've already established that at 0 Celsius and 32 degrees, that's a freezing. So,
Uh,
hmm.
I'm gonna double check this, by the way.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Did I lose?
Hmm. Let's see. It's not gonna be so maybe -10.
You're kind of close.
Dang
Oh, I am wrong. What the?
it.
I thought it was.
Hey,
I thought it
little
was
Rory.
-32. I thought at -32 they were equal. They're close, but
Okay.
it's somewhere in the -30, -32, somewhere around there.
Okay. Well, I
Absurdly cold.
well, yeah, absolutely cool. Like your -10 for us would be like something, minus more than that for you guys. I mean, it must have been cold earlier this winter, because it was pretty cold for us during certain points.
Yeah, it's been pretty mild here so far, to be honest. We haven't had a
Yeah.
super cold one. But
Good, good. God knows ain't like a -198. Well, and Davyverse lives in the UK, so their homes are perfect for winter, but during summer they melt out in the melt in the summer, because their houses aren't um, made for their houses aren't made to release that cooling. So it's just one of those weird things to learn. Miles off. Miles off? What are you talking about, miles off?
probably my assumption that -32 is miles
Oh,
off.
oh, okay.
Correct us,
Um,
good sir. I'm willing to be educated.
you see, he's got the coat. He's already got the beard. He's ready to learn. He's ready
Yeah,
to learn.
a scholar.
Now he just needs like the scholarly hat, and he'll be ready to go. But what was that? But yeah, the UK, the houses are made to what's the word? Keep in heat, but they aren't made to release it, like sort of like ours. Because I mean, I know I've had a Canadian before. His name was Nova, and he talked about like there's a different grade for like the insulation, right? Like
Yeah,
R5, I
our
think it
value.
was
Yeah.
R value, and because you guys get uh, cold up there harder, in essence. I can't nobody. Well, that ain't my fault. I don't know what to tell you.
You're
Oh,
in the right place. You're gonna learn lots today.
red brick, and it's still freezing. Well, you know what? Bundle up. I was. Oh, he was saying he was miles off. Okay,
Uh,
so he clarified he was miles off. Well, it's not like exactly I know Celsius either. Like everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, you don't know metric." It's like, yeah, because I'm in America, and they usually teach Fahrenheit and foot and inches and all that stuff. You're like kilometers, meters, um, what's some other ones? All that stuff that deals with metric. I know.
you'd be surprised at the mix we use. Like, it's
Really?
not. Yeah, we're not pure metric, right? Like, we'll use kilometers for distance, so kilometers per hour is
Mm,
for our speed limits and stuff.
mm,
Um, but baking is all cups, ounces, teaspoons, tablespoons, which I think is horrendous personally. My grandparents are German immigrants, right? I mean, they're
Oh,
both
okay.
they're passed away now, but
Right.
they came from Germany, and
Mm.
in Germany, you have one thing in your kitchen for measuring, and it's a scale, and everything is weight,
Oh,
and it's
okay.
just grams, right? So it's like you're baking a cake. It's like this many grams of flour, this
Mm.
many grams of this, and all you do is you put like your bowl on the scale, you
Mm.
zero it, and you dump in your flour till you hit whatever you need, and then you take
Mm.
that, dump it in your mixing bowl, put it back, add however
Right.
much milk you need. It's so much simpler,
Yeah.
but nobody here does it that way. I already said we use both Celsius and Fahrenheit for
Hmm.
temp for well for thermostats.
Yeah.
Outside temperature is always Celsius.
Mhm.
What else is a mixture? Feet and inches are used for all our measurements.
Really?
Yeah, like if you say what's standard countertop height, right? I'm going to my cabinet making stuff here. It's like, oh, it's 36 inches,
Yeah.
right? And then every once in a while we'll get drawings sent to us and it's in millimeters, and I'm just like, how the hell do I build this? What size is this thing?
It's very small. Look, I'm calculating. It looks very small.
Yeah, it's like, how do I read this and measure? These millimeters are so many lines.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got a
North.
good mixture. I feel like most what was he saying here? Northern England would still be mining coal or Maggie
Oh.
Thatcher. But yeah, we got a good mixture of both. I'm fairly comfortable with both metric and imperial,
Okay. Well,
so it's
yeah,
not foreign to
because
me.
well, I mean, for the English, it is. It's very foreign. But
For
yeah,
the
this is,
British, we only measure in metric.
and we lose our guns along the way. What is this cabinet for ants? What? No, it's those are pretty big cabinets behind you, though.
That
Those,
one right behind me there,
yeah, that's a pretty big cabinet.
that's a wall bed, actually.
Oh, okay. So,
Yeah.
so that's sort of like a it's a cabinet for your bed.
Yeah. No, in my streaming room here, which is also like home office,
Yeah,
slash guest room. So
yeah.
we used to have a showroom for my company. I guess do you want to dive into that now? Is it okay?
Well,
We switch gears from our
well,
units of
you're
measurement.
well, well, I mean, it's just interesting to learn that because you think, you know, they always, the UK and all those people they make fun of America's like you guys are the only place that uses imperial. Everywhere else is metrics. Like, well, now that you say that, it's like, well, that's
Not
not really.
exactly.
No. Well, why do you think that is though? Because that just seems like a weird bit. Is it because of just because you have tourists come up there, or what? What do you think that
I
is?
think it's because Canada and the US are so closely linked, especially in trade, that
Yeah.
you need to we as Canadians need to be able to understand the American
Mm,
system in
mm,
order to, be an efficient exporter
yeah.
to them, or importer as well. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's just you have to have that understanding, and it's a good place to travel to. So
Mm,
you just get used to it, right? It's like most Canadians have been to the States at some point.
yeah.
Um, so you're driving on the highway. Oh yeah, 65 miles per hour. So you have kind of an equivalent to what that is for our
Mm,
highways here. So it's just we're so closely linked. I think it's just we know both. And for my work, 90% of my stuff that I build goes to the
mm.
US.
Oh,
So
okay.
I'm dealing with primarily US based customers as well.
What happens to the other 10%? Just goes back to Canada?
Yeah, it's
Or
stuff being stays within Canada. I just asked Grok,
mm.
and Celsius and Fahrenheit actually equal at -40. So I was
Oh,
off by 10. I knew it was a big negative number, but I was off a little bit.
well, it's up by 30, so there you go. Um, but yeah, it's just an interesting because again, you go across other places in the world like metric and all that stuff, and then you come to like you where your job is partly a necessity for it, and so I guess it's kind of sort of like learning a different language, right? You know, say French Canadian and then English, and then you're just like, oh, I can do both.
Yep.
I can speak a little French, although I hear they kind of are not so nice all the time. So there's that.
I shouldn't say too much. Well, so here's another little anecdote. There's multiple types of French Canadians.
Oh,
So
really?
my wife is French Canadian, but she's
Oh,
not French Canadian. She's what's called Acadian. So
Canadian.
Acadians, way back when, were deported from France,
Mhm.
I believe, and sent to colonize North America.
Right.
And they had their I say this to them all the time. I hope there's no Acadians in the chat because they're not going to like it, but their imaginary country, Acadia. um, and so that's that's their heritage. They go, oh yeah,
Right.
we're Acadian, and you'll know an Acadian because they always have the French flag, but it has a little gold or yellow star in the top left corner. Is the Acadian
Oh.
flag compared to the French flag?
Uh,
So Acadians, they're pretty good for English,
mm,
and like I can't speak a stitch of French. It's
interesting.
not really a necessity where I'm at.
Right.
But Acadians speak French, and their English is usually pretty good. But you
Mm,
go into like Quebec, and
mm,
especially you go outside of the major cities like Montreal or Quebec City,
mm.
and there's no English,
Jeez.
right? And so, I mean, more Canadian geography for you. You have Ontario, Quebec, and then New Brunswick, and Nova
Mm,
Scotia, Prince Edward Island, and
yeah.
Newfoundland. So New Brunswick is the only province that actually is mandatory bilingual, French and English. So all the
Interesting.
signs are in English and French, menus, everything has to have both on it. It's the only province that does that. Because when you're in Ontario and you're driving along the highways,
Mm,
say the Toronto area,
yeah.
everything's in English.
Mm,
And then as you start to approach the Quebec border, you get a little bit of French, and then the signs are both English and French. And then you cross the Quebec border, and it's just like, boom, French.
uh.
No more English here. And you're just like, I hope my GPS knows what it's doing because I can't read anything and I don't know where I'm going.
That one says omelette. I think we're somewhere near there.
Yeah.
I just is this guy a carpenter? Like Jesus, you know what? He has the beard for it. He's getting pretty close. He's getting pretty close.
I wish I'd be worthy of that. No, I am a cabinet maker, not a carpenter. There's a very
Oh,
big difference. Don't call a cabinet maker a carpenter. Pro tip.
well, you do both work with wood though, so there's that.
Yes, that is very true.
Gotcha. No. And Davey says, "No, we do both mix and match mile per gallon in the field tank and pine leaves." You know what? If you were to come over here and live in America, Davey verse, you'd have to learn how to deal with the imperial, even though you hate it so much, even though you abstain on it, like you stupid Americans,
You rebels
you
broke
rebels.
away from us and changed all your units. I got to say, miles per gallon is significantly better than the metric alternative.
Well, liters to
Liters per 100 kilometers.
yeah, that's a weird one.
It's like it's extra math you have to do in your head, and it just makes no sense. Like it makes sense, but it's extra math.
He says, like France, I won't consider them real too. Well, you know what? Sometimes you can make good food and you can make paintings that look like masterpieces, but the attitude, meh.
Yeah, the
meh,
superiority complex is a real
meh.
issue with them.
See, that may be why they got invaded so many times during the World Wars, because they had an attitude complex. And
Yeah,
they're like, no, Americans, we don't need your help. We can do it ourselves. Germany
yeah.
comes along. Dad, check please. We may
Yeah,
need some help.
Germany comes. We will conquer you, and we conquer you quickly.
We come to France. We come to France, right? And we come here. Oh, look all the paintings. Look all the food. Yeah, that's great and all. But the people, they work really hard when
Yeah,
you
yeah.
get them in
The
shape.
people, oh, they were so rude.
That's just the next show is two fake Germans doing fake German accents. We have come here to do a show about something that does nothing, but it works out pretty well.
My German accent is just me impersonating my grandmother. That's where I learned it, and like that's exactly how she talks,
Yeah,
or used to talk, I guess.
yeah. Then it's like, you want to sweet? You have to go in 10 feet of snow, come back with pile of wood, and then you get sweet.
Yeah. The best German one still is, remember that commercial where it was the people on the boat and they're like, Mayday, Mayday, we're sinking. And the German Coast Guard picks up, they're like, yeah, what are you sinking about?
Oh, he's not feeling so good. He's under the weather. Yeah.
The German accent is the best. The way they say things is hilarious. Visiting family there one time, and
Mm,
my second, third cousin, whatever, is
mm,
playing guitar, and he's
mm.
singing "Bad Moon Rising,"
Yeah.
and he's just like got his huge German accent, right? So he's just like strumming. He's like, "I see the bad moon on the rising." And I'm just trying not to laugh because I don't want to offend him, but it was just like it
Yeah.
was the funniest accent.
It's like you're great. You're getting there. You're getting. Oh Lord. Oh. Well, and it's a if they give an earnest try, then it's that. But if you have fun with it too, it's not that bad. Like I do an Australian accent, and I try to play around with different accents because it's more of a fun feature than
Oh yeah.
rather than like we have come to take your country and your language too. How do you like that?
Wasn't there something, I don't know if they teach this in US schools, but I read somewhere um, that when the US was forming, there was actually a vote on the official language, and they were like 3 votes away from German being the official language.
I don't remember anything of
I
that sort.
think I remember I read something about that somewhere. I'll have to look that up later. But it's like, can you imagine how much history would have been impacted if the United States spoke German as their primary language? This was like prior to World War One and Two.
Yeah, it'd be so look, yeah, we know who that person is, but we are not affiliated with them, so
Yeah.
don't look over here. We enjoy we enjoy him over there, so you take
Yep.
him and we'll be over here.
Pretty much, eh?
That's such a Canadian thing to do. Hey,
It's
oh my goodness.
I am your stereotypical Canadian kid. Like I was as generic as they came when it came to Canadian stereotypes.
Yeah, I did have a German gentleman on. He had he wasn't hard to understand him because he spoke in English pretty well, and he's been over in the States a few times.
Yep.
But you can tell there's an accent of Germanic accent. You're just like I can tell a bit. Well, it's also sometimes it can be a bit confusing for English as well. There's sometimes like the English have like Welsh and all this other stuff, so you get confused with that. But I
Yeah,
mean,
or like you meet a Scottish guy and you're like, you are not speaking English.
well, if you don't understand, then don't come to
Yeah,
Scotland.
exactly, right? But like it's so harsh sometimes. We had friends that immigrated from Scotland, and like
Mm.
for the first 2 years, I could not understand my buddy's dad's like anything he said. I was just like,
And look at him over there, and he's trying to do his right.
yeah, exactly like that. That's pretty good, actually. That's a good Scottish accent.
No, I already did Davey Verse. He's already been on before. If you look through my stuff, you can find him. I've only had him on once though, so he's been
SMU.
as some
SM.
DJ the Smooth's actual name on Twitter X. But yeah, he is German. No, well, and there's a family. One of my siblings went to Germany once for some nannying thing or whatever, and so she actually met a girl over there, and she's friends with them too. And so there, you can tell again. You could tell there's a very staunch accent, but I mean, that and Russian are the languages which sounds like you could be saying something completely nonchalant, and it sounds like jawohl, oh, and it just sounds very angry and stuff. And you could go for that. But yeah, that's just on pretense.
Yep.
But yeah, it's a very fascinating thing when you get kind of listen and kind of play around with just trying to do accent wise because, what was he your German guy? Yes, he was the German guy. Yes, DJ the Smooth was my German guy. I have a connection over in Germany now, so don't ask. All right, I'm not gonna. There's no gonna be hits. All right, nobody's gonna get hit or anything. No one's gonna get whacked. Just be mindful of who you're talking to. But anyway,
Eraserhead, hi.
hey, like I said, like I got that kind of pull. He said he could get somebody hit. What? You know what a joke is, right? Did you see me laughing after the fact? Yeah, that's so hard with social media now, where somebody says something that's sort of like they're trying to do as funny, but they don't put like the like LOL or hashtag this or whatever, and it's just
Yep.
that, and people like, is he serious now? Is he like being serious? And they'll take it for serious, and you have all this. It's just a mess. Has that moved to Argentina? No, it didn't move over there, but they certainly can't handle the heat. Yeah. Jordy, you have a hard time understanding me if you can't understand Scottish. That's true. That's very true. But then again, I used to like watch what was it? Craig Ferguson and all that, and you can you can understand a bit, but sometimes they'll reach in that hard Scottish accent, and you're trying to real drill in there. Like, ooh, that's real hard.
Yeah, it's like the Newfies here. People from Newfoundland, like hardcore Newfoundland,
Mm.
can't understand a word they say. It's like, whoa. I can't even do the accent. I wish I could, but it's like they just talk so fast and mumble every word together. It's just like you're not getting anything out of that.
So what you're saying is they sound like a today a rapper where there's like
Oh, don't get me started on mumble rap. I hate mumble rap. I'm sure I'll get some hate for that in the chat, but it's like, oh, I can't stand mumble rap.
like what the hell is he saying? Is
Yeah,
he
like
even?
Post Malone on, I was just like I don't like Post Malone either, but when he started doing it, I was like, this is crap. And then everyone started doing it, and I'm like, this can't possibly be popular. Like kids can't possibly listen to this. And then you see these kids just like jamming out, like meow 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 meow, and I'm like, oh god.
Hey, BT from Korea became a big hit. All right, so you can't really put those boy bands out just yet. But yeah, it's just a weird thing. But I mean, not only that, but you also gave us some of your actors as well. So there's that. Gave us the Ryan Reynolds. You gave us the Bieber, of course.
Yep.
You gave us the Michael Cera. Michael Cera's Canadian.
Yep, there's some
Um,
big names. Mike Myers, Jim
Mike Myers.
Carrey,
That's right.
The Weeknd,
Mm.
Celine Dion.
So Celine Dion's always been a big one, especially after Titanic, where her heart needs to stop going on. All right, that's a little
Yeah.
too much. You make a Celine Dion joke right first, like, look, Celine Dion, I love you, but Lord, woman, just stop with your heart going on. Okay, I
Yeah,
get it.
it's time to
Um,
retire.
time to retire. At
Ugh.
mumble rap is gay. Hey, you know what? There's a lot of things that are gay, but if it makes you happy, then I'm not going to stop you. Canada's greatest comedian is William Shatner. Well, hey. Well, I didn't know he was Canadian either. There's
You know who
that.
else is oh frig, what's his name? Will Arnett. He's
Oh,
Canadian as well.
really?
Yep.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's some big names. Like we're not a insignificant place.
Well, but the problem is you haven't really used much of your land because I believe a majority of your um,
It's like 90% of the population lives within an hour of the US border.
yeah, that's was it Toronto? I think that's Toronto.
Yeah,
That
Toronto's close. Yeah, that's a couple like 2 hours from Buffalo.
yeah,
Even if you go out west, like Vancouver is really close to the border.
yeah.
Calgary's only a couple hours.
Mm,
Montreal's not far either. Like it's all pretty close.
yeah.
But
It. I wonder if that has to do with because I don't know what kind of other power things they have, but what if it has to do with like the hydroelectric dam? Because I mean that the Niagara Falls is right in that area. Deadpool makes up for Bieber. You know what? Bieber made up for Bieber, so don't be harsh. Don't throw him under the covers yet.
you know, you got to give Bieber a little bit of credit. The guy has quieted down. He's not
Mm,
a prick anymore. Like he went through his rebellious teenage years where he was a bit of a douche,
yeah,
and but he's quieted down. Like he'll go to hockey games in Toronto and just sit with the fans, like a
yeah,
regular seat. He's not even in a box. He's
mm,
just there cheering on his team,
yeah.
and so I mean, I don't love his music, but it's not the worst thing ever either.
Yeah.
Um,
I'd have been like, well, the only box he'd probably end up in is a penalty box, but that's only if he gets out onto the ice
yeah,
and starts knocking them out.
and confession, I've never watched Deadpool. I don't know.
Really?
Is it something I should watch?
Well, I mean, the one that came out, Deadpool and Wolverine was pretty good. Just Bieber's like, well, yeah, of course, he's a dad. Um, Love is unironically a banger. Well, so was Haley Steinfeld's "Love Me" or something like that. I can't remember.
You know what a good Bieber song is actually "As Long as You Love Me."
As long as you love me, interesting.
Yeah, with Big Sean on it. That's a good song. It's kind
Okay.
of dubsteppy a little bit. That one's good.
Yeah. Well, and part of the attitudiness of Justin Bieber, you can't fully blame on him because again, he was a child
Yeah,
singer, right? He was put through a ringer through all that stuff, and he only had a mom. He didn't really have a dad, so
yeah,
you had that multiply. Usher helping him, and then all this other stuff. You had a kid growing up without much of direction other than the singing part, and it's not surprising he turned out the way he did, even though he got better. It's still not
yeah.
surprising because
You
he
go
didn't.
you go nuts with the fame, but there's actually I watched a really good documentary on him on Netflix.
Mhm.
Um, and he what he went through was crazy. Like
Yeah.
team would be like, listen, you have a day off between this concert and the next one. You can't talk. No speaking. Like you just need to sit down, play video games, and don't say a word. Which to most kids would probably they'd be like, sweet, sign me up. But he's like being carted around the country,
Yeah.
whatever, or the continent really,
Yeah.
and is like, go sing like crazy, do your performance, and then just shut up. And like he had doctors coming in working on his vocal cords and like because his voice started failing because he was just singing so much.
Yep.
And it's he actually had a wild workload, like I'm sure most artists do.
Yeah.
um
But
but
when
when
you
you actually watch that, you're like, wow, like poor kid had no childhood,
yeah.
right? Like it was just go here, sing, go there, go here, and it was like you never got to do the kid things that every kid wants to do, right?
Yeah, he was a star that was paraded around as a zoo animal, basically. And when you have someone, have a kid like that, and it doesn't have to be a musician, right? It could be a star as well, like a movie star or whatnot.
Yeah.
You get these people who just get wrecked because they really didn't. I mean, I get, I get that, his fame started from a YouTube video, whatever, and then Usher or whoever saw it and they helped him get big or whatever. But at a certain point, your parents would step in and say, okay, we need to kind of string back a bit because as much as we, love doing the sing, whatever, you're kind of overkilling it, right? He's just a kid. Just let him sing on those things. But no, he didn't. He didn't have that.
Well, don't forget too, it's not like everything is going to him. I'm laughing at Davey versus the
Yeah.
comments because 10 million at 17, like, yeah, it'd be great, but I
Yeah.
think we'd all go ballistic.
Yeah.
But it's like the label's taking some, his producers taking some, his
Yep.
agents, whatever. Everyone's taken from him, so they're going to keep pushing him, right? Like, go,
Yeah.
you got to do another show, more tickets, sell more tickets, and
Yep.
like you're almost using the poor kid, right? So
Yeah.
that's an industry I couldn't do. That wouldn't sit well with me to, especially young kids like that, to force them into doing, being away from home and just,
Yeah.
it's not a life for a kid. But I mean, good for him though. I hope he's happy.
Yeah.
And like I said, no, he has a kid, settled
Mm.
down.
Yep.
Fun fact, I don't know him personally.
Yeah.
There's a decent amount of people in Canada. I don't know everybody. Um, but yeah, it must have been a crazy life, and I don't think that's something most people would want to do.
Well, and that when you say it like that, getting pushed around because other people's jobs are online, it sort of reminds me of when you see these movies, right, where they just keep having their thing going, and they don't, they maybe they're successful, maybe not, or a TV series or whatever, and they keep pushing it down the line, even though the series is kind of waned and it's not really getting that much views. You do have this thing where people are trying to keep pushing the thing that it had popularity, and you try to keep pushing it because you want to keep a job, right? Because in the industry of music or movies or TV shows, that's very chaotic because your your livelihood is based on, are you doing a show or are you in wait to do a show? Because if you're not working, you're out searching for work, and it's
Yeah.
just it's really one of those things. Well, like you said, you couldn't be in it because there are more constant things you can find work in where there's just, if you can't find it in one place, like cabinet work, right? I'm pretty sure you could go anywhere and get work for, doing cabinet work. Because I mean, that's maybe you could work with the Amish. I mean, they build cabinets too, so there's that.
They build everything.
Yeah, pretty much.
There's actually a bunch of them not far from me. If I drive
Really?
about an hour, there's one of them that does sheet metal, like metal roofing, corrugated metal roofing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well, that's
the
interesting.
Canadian phone book was only 5 pages.
Yeah.
You know what? I should send you a link. There's a Molson Canadian beer commercial from back in the day. That's just like
Mhm.
all these Canadian stereotypes. And I
Yeah.
debated like rehearsing that at the start of the show here, but I was like, I don't want to be too cliche with my Canadian thing because it's not really that big a deal. It's not like I'm
Yeah.
a albino animal or something. um, but there's like one line in it. He's like, and I don't know Jimmy, Sally, or Susie from Canada, although I'm sure they're really, really nice. And I was just like, yeah, in traveling to the States, I've gotten that before too, where people are just like, oh yeah, I have a friend that lives in Ottawa. I'm like, dude, I live 5 hours from Ottawa.
And
I don't.
Ottawa's, yeah, Ottawa. So if you're Canada's right here, I think Ottawa's more this way.
It's
If it,
like it's eastern. It's right on the border between Ontario and Quebec. And the reason they chose that as the capital,
you just as tyrannical. Oh, okay.
Yeah, the reason they chose Ottawa as the capital was because it was right on the border of Ontario and Quebec, and
Mm,
they were trying to keep both the English and French happy in
mm.
creating the country. So they would put the government right on the border so they could service both people adequately.
So yeah, 'cause that just sounds like maybe we could just try out getting along. Ah, screw you! Take down that hoser. Um, all that stuff. I mean, it's basically you can almost do a Canadian accent just because there's been so many like the Red Green Show, all this other
Great
stuff.
show. That is a
Yeah,
great show. Yeah, the Canadian accent is super easy.
yeah.
Like, hey, let's go for a brewski there, bud. Head outside and hack a dart.
Who wants some poutine there, eh? It's
Yeah.
a lot of the good stuff. And it's funny thing is I go to this once a while back was this Irish pub, and they do serve poutine there. So they have that. And poutine's sort of like this. If people don't know what poutine is, sort of like this gravy, fries, cheese. It's just a smorgasbord of heart killer. Um, and if you eat it once in your life, be grateful you didn't die after.
Yeah. It's pretty much the first step towards a heart attack. Yeah, it's fries with gravy and cheese curds, in case anyone
Oh,
doesn't know. And the gravy's hot, so it melts the cheese. Don't get me wrong, it's delicious.
yeah.
But it's not something you're gonna want to eat frequently if you're health conscious.
Well, and that was the weird thing is that from that one, I remember because they, I don't know what it was, but my parents had bought, or one of my parents had bought a coconut, right? And they said, you shouldn't drink this very often or whatever, something with a coconut. And I had drunk a coconut once. It was like, bleh, like coconut milk is, bleh. It just really didn't have much flavor. It's sort of like, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's some things you should only try once, and then that's it. Like, don't you touch that again, otherwise it will, your heart will go.
See, the reason coconuts are so healthy though is because you can't possibly get fat eating coconut because it takes you like 4 hours to scrape the meat off the inside. It's agony. I bought one at the grocery store when I was a teenager. I was shopping with my mom, and I was like, "Can we get a coconut? They have coconuts." And she's like, "Yeah, sure." And I took it home, and I'm just like, "What do I do with it?" Like, it's hard as a rock. So I ended up taking a drill gun to it and drilling a hole through the top to drain the milk out,
Yeah,
and then took like a hammer and chisel to it
yeah,
to break it in half, and then like you still couldn't get the meat out of it. It was brutal.
yeah. And you're like, oh, this is the worst day ever.
Yeah, it's like no wonder all the tropics are third world countries. They can't make or produce food. They just have coconuts that are impossible to eat.
You know what? Castaway lied to me on that one. He used stone for that though, so there's that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's something to be said about fresh coconuts. I'm sure
That's true.
there's
Yeah,
probably a big difference.
that's probably true. Instead of the store bought ones, which are probably, that some of them are like hand done, right?
Yeah.
They're like kind of cut to the certain point. You just have to do like a cut off or something like that to get the juice.
Yeah.
It's sort of like how some stores here in America, they will do fresh cut fruit, and they'll put them in the containers. So you can buy the container of that fresh cut fruit, but it doesn't last too long. That tracks. Can't use his tools to open the code. He was a teen back then.
That's
So,
that user, that's my wife. Hence
oh,
the
okay.
name.
Oh, Slinger Lover.
I
Oh,
don't have any fans like that.
okay.
That is 100% my wife. Which thank you
Well,
for tuning in. I'm glad you're being supportive.
oh, look at that. Well, you know what? We'll just keep that up for a little longer. And just like, oh, Slinger Lover. Slinger Games, Slinger Lover. Now we're just waiting for like Slinger, something that rhymes with Slinger. I don't know. But just looking
My
at
mind was
that.
going dirty places with that one. I'm like, no, I'm not
No,
gonna
I
say
don't want to.
anything.
No, I don't want to do that with
We're gonna
that.
keep this PG.
Darn, did this. Hey, come on now. It's not like a coconut though. Not like a coconut. Yay, Slinger
Oh,
Lover.
she's loving the shout outs.
Oh yeah, woo, 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 Slinger Lover. What? What? She'll be like, no, put me on next, coach. And I'll be like, all right, but you can't get rowdy because I saw you in chat and you were a
Yeah.
rowdy person.
It's the French Canadian in her. They're
Oh,
loud.
the friend.
They're very loud.
What?
Oh no, see, look what we started now.
Slinger banger. What are you trying to say? What is going on here? Oh, Wilson. Yeah, that's right. Castaway Wilson. Wilson.
That's a great movie, by the way. That is a good
Yeah.
movie.
No, it was. I enjoyed it.
I gotta lose the jacket. I'm cooking.
Yeah. Yeah. Lose the jacket. It looks fancy for a while. Then it looks like it kind of itches.
It looks just
Um,
tacky.
Yeah, that's true. Though, if you were in a corner of trying to run away from a bear, it could buy you some time. So
You know
there's
what?
that.
Actually, no. You know, what'd be good for is if you're in a random bullfight and you can flip it inside out, and you got the red to
Mm,
Toro,
yeah.
Toro.
Toro. Oh, it's not going that way. But yeah, it's fun learning about the different things with because again, I've talked to many people from the UK, and try to kind of because they live a daily life in the UK. It doesn't matter, London, Liverpool, whatever it may be, and so try to get it kind of look what it's because I can't travel there per se because one, I don't have a passport, and two, because it's just a lot of money.
Yeah.
It would be easier for me to go to Canada, but I still have to get the passport, so that
Yeah.
maybe that still may be a little harder.
Benefit of coming to visit Canada though is your dollar goes a long way, especially right now. Like we're
Yeah,
at like $1.40. So your $1 American dollar is $1.40 Canadian. So stuff's 40% cheaper here, essentially.
yeah, but I've seen your money, and it gets mixed in with our money. I'm just like, I gotta just fling it back at you guys. Some people mistake your Canadian pennies for our pennies. Like
We
it's
don't have
not even
pennies. Pennies are gone.
Oh, really? When they get rid
Yeah.
of that?
They got rid of them because it cost too much to make them. So they
Right.
actually eliminated them. So if you're paying cash, they round up to, if it's at like, let's say 82 cents, they
Mhm.
round down to 80 cents. And
Mm.
if it's 83, they round up to 85. If you
Well,
pay
that.
debit or credit, it's exact. But if you're
r-
paying cash, they round it.
What about I know you have. What about the Canadian quarters? Have you gotten rid of those yet, or no?
No, we still have quarters. So we got
Oh,
nickels, dimes, quarters, our $1 coin, which is called a loonie because there's a loon on it,
right.
right? And then we have a toonie, which is a $2 coin.
Mhm.
And then we go up to bills. So you got 5, 10, 20, 50, 100. And
Mm.
that, I will die on this hill. That is where we have the Americans beat because ours is color coded. It is significantly better because you can look in your wallet real quick and go,
Mm.
oh, I got I know exactly what I have based on the colors.
Yeah. But I mean, it still looks plasticky at times. So there's that.
It
Looks
is
like when I
plastic.
Great, that's cheap. 1 pound equals 1 US. Yeah,
See?
yeah. It looks like Monopoly money at a certain point.
Yeah. Well, and
Um,
it's plastic. You can't rip it. Like, it
yeah.
doesn't
It
rip.
again, Monopoly money is what it looks like.
Yeah. It
But
melts in the dryer, though. Fun fact. Don't do that.
honey, where did I put my? Oh, my wallet's in the wash. Oh, son of a bit. Um, but no, she's trying to direct the chat. Talk about the game Outer Wilds. So I'm guessing you played
Uh,
that game.
yeah, that's probably my favorite game of all time. I loved that game.
I only play. I tried getting the DLC for the first one because I do know they are making another one. They are making an
No, no,
Outer
no, no,
Wilds.
no. Don't. It's not Outer Worlds. Outer Wilds.
Outer Wild. Oh, okay, that's the different one.
I think
Okay.
you're thinking of Outer Worlds. Yeah,
Yes. Yep.
yeah. Outer Wilds is significantly different. Still set in space,
Yeah.
but
No, I remember now because Outer Wilds was sort of had like a time reverse.
you're in a time loop.
Yeah, you're in a
Yeah.
time loop basically, and you're trying to figure out why you're in a time loop. Because basically, I think the story is that a comet hits the sun of that system, and you just kind of go back.
You can't really say too much without spoiling the game, but
Yeah,
you are stuck in a time loop, and the loop ends with the sun in your little solar system supernova-ing.
yeah,
Is that the
yeah,
term for it? It goes
yeah,
supernova and explodes,
yeah,
and then that resets your loop.
yeah,
So you're in like this perpetual day of death, I guess, right? Where the
yeah.
sun supernovas and then you go back 22 minutes. But the underlying story, that game was just a masterclass in game making. Every detail was significant. Everything had a place. Everything had a purpose. Like in terms of just actual game development and game making, that
Mm,
game is top tier. Like
mm,
I can't think of a single one that is better. And it had so many, and this is why I loved it, had so many of those moments where it's just like you're trying to figure out what to do, and then you finally see something and you go, oh, maybe that's significant. and you
Right.
try it and it
Mhm.
works and you have like this eureka moment where you're like, oh my gosh, it worked.
Mhm.
Okay, I get it now. And I know what to do. And you do it and it works. And
Mhm.
then 5 minutes later, you're like, well, now I'm stuck again. And you kind of
Yeah.
go back to the drawing board and
Yep.
look at everything again and go, okay, well, I've learned this now. So what does that mean that I can do going forward? Can I apply that
Mhm.
elsewhere? And like
Yeah.
just when it all wrapped up and it was just like it's the game is like the sixth sense in that you can only play it once.
Yeah.
Once you beat it, that's it. Because you can beat it in 5 minutes. And you could, in theory, beat it your very first time loop, but you don't know what to do. And I think that's what makes it special is that you have to discover what to do.
Yeah. Absolute toilet stuff. Well, yeah, that could be. I mean, it's possible. There was a game from a long, not too long, but there's a game called What Happened. Uh, what happened to Edith Finch or something like that, and there was a really good story to it. I don't know about the game mechanics. It's been a while because I watched other people play. Actually, you know what? I probably should. I'm already up here.
Isn't that one isn't the whole point of that game? I could be wrong. Maybe I'm thinking of something else. But like the
Um,
whole thing is you're like uncovering the story as you go, just to find out in the end that she's a lesbian.
no. What happened to Edith? I'm trying to
What
figure. I'm
what
trying to.
game am I thinking of?
That's the. I believe that's the other one they did. What happened to Edith Finch? What remains of Edith Finch? I'm sorry. What remains of Edith Finch? Because of this, and I believe that other game you're talking about is the one that they was after the fact. So it's probably made
Right.
by the same studio, but it's a different one. But what remains of Edith Finch had, um, it's it's a story about well, it's a story about a family. And it's got a weird house, whatever, and it starts out with you going to try to discover, because your parent has died, and you're going to try to figure out, what's left behind or whatever. Um, but the story becomes this sort of true revelation in curses and the belief in curses, right?
Oh.
And so well, I won't spoil anymore because there's that you'll find out what I mean if you played it. But for me, that story had a relation to the story of that game. Well, not at that time when I'd seen it, but later on in life, there was a movie called The Iron Claw, which was based on the Von Erichs of wrestling and stuff. Right? There was a similarity of belief in curses, and if anyone had seen The Iron Claw, the dad had kept believing that their family was under a curse and all that stuff, and this and that or whatever. And it's a pretty good movie to see. But the same thing happened with in What Remains of Edith Finch, where it was the grandparent in that story who believed that the family was under a curse, a very big curse. But then
Mhm.
you go through the story and you start seeing a revelation of the story where things aren't as they seem, and you begin to change you begin to start thinking about, okay, so then what is a curse? Is it a make believe, or is it a real thing? And that sort of aspect kind of goes through the story and stuff. So while it's not exactly in the same type of uh story setting, right, one's about wrestling, one's about rediscovering family stuff, the main core of it is still family believing in um a curse on their family. Hey, Horse Dream, how are you? Oh, look, Davy versus. Oh, thank you for that, Davy versus. Hold on, I got it. There you go. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. More, more green. Yeah, the YouTube does not like you saying Rumble in the chat, so there's that.
Mhm.
What was that? But yeah, it was sort of this. It was just the central theme of was family believing in curses, and I wonder, there was that thing with the what team was it? It was not the. I don't know if it was like the New York Yankees or something like that, or the Chicago. Oh, I think it was the Chicago Cubs. They believed that they had a curse. And it was like 100 years, whatever.
There was a Japanese baseball team that had that same thing.
Really?
Yeah, in the Japanese baseball league, whatever, I don't know what that league is called.
Mm,
They there was something where like they won like the championship, and they
mm,
had this statue out front of the team mascot or something, and like they threw it into the river during a
yeah.
celebration, and then someone made a joke about them being cursed now, and they went like years and years and years, if not decades, without winning a championship
Interesting.
until they eventually dug the statue out of the river to try and reverse the curse.
Yeah.
I had to look more into that one too. I don't remember, but I remember watching a video on that one. But you could be right about the Chicago Cubs too, because they went over 100 years without winning a championship.
Yeah, there was like at one point they were like bringing in a goat or something to help with it. And I think there's there can be a reality to it and there can be a falsity to it. And it's just what you're willing to give belief to on that regard, right? If you believe
Yeah.
a curse is real or the curse is real. And I think that's kind of a hard differentiation because if you believe it's real, then it will always appear real to you,
Yep.
or whoever. But it was just sort of that connecting factor between those two stories because it made me think like the what happened to the families of these two sides of the coin were their belief in that they had a curse on them, even though you go through and you start seeing this revelation of the story. I don't want to give it too much away, but yeah, it's just one of those things where you find those connections of stuff, and it's just like, why is it that that thing is that way, and yet come down the line, another story pops up, and those same similar themes are in a fair voodoo
Voodoo
doll the
doll,
entire
the
team.
entire I just say don't talk about teams and curses because my Toronto Maple Leafs are arguably cursed as well. So
All your Maple Leafs.
yeah, they haven't won since 1967.
Well, try to tell them to try harder.
Oh, trust me, I've screamed.
Hey, get back on the ice. Hey, put your stick down, okay? Or something like that. I messed that one up. But anyway, it is the Power Hour time. Of course, for those who don't know or are just new here, what that means is that it's a time where I set aside some time for us to promote ourselves. Of course, I've put all the links down below. But if you want to promote yourself in your own way, the floor is yours.
Sure. I mean, yeah, on Twitter/X, I'm Slinger92. I'm also on Rumble as Slinger Games. I broadcast to Twitch as well, and that's Slinger Games 92 because everything's taken. But
Yeah.
um, anyone who's a Twitch user can follow me there as well. My whole thing with getting into streaming was just I was having fun playing games and I felt like sharing.
Mm,
And it is a little bit of backstory, but growing up, I'm the oldest of four. So I
mm.
was always player one.
Right.
And so when we had single player games, I'm playing it. And
Yeah.
my three siblings, you're watching, right?
Yep.
I'm playing, you're watching. And we had so much fun just like playing through games together, like, Legend of Zelda games and um, Super Mario, like a whole bunch of different stuff.
Yeah.
Dark Cloud was a big one for us on PS2,
Mm,
and it was just so fun to play through games together. Even though I was the one playing it, like, and we were helping each other figure out the puzzles and all that stuff. And so when I finally decided to start streaming, I was like, let me give it a go. And I
mm,
did that first stream, and I was like, I feel like I'm a kid again, and I'm like playing with my siblings. Like it's like I'm playing the game, and there's other people watching, and we're playing through it together. So
nice.
um, that's what I'm trying to do is just one, play good games and play through games that are worth experiencing together and just kind of having that feeling of kind of like where you all sit down on the couch together and you play through a really really good game and you leave it
Mm,
and you're like, man, that game was right on par with a good book or a good movie,
yeah.
right? So that's where you can find me on Twitter. I have the occasional hot take too, so you can get in on that fun. I'm not afraid to speak my mind. um, but yeah, that's really what I'm about in my social media presence. it's
Mm,
it's nothing overly ambitious.
yeah.
I have been debating starting like a, I don't want to say a separate channel, but doing a little bit of 3D modeling and designing and building cabinets based on video game.
Yeah.
Uh, how do you call it?
Just video game characters or
Not even so much characters. I can't think of the word I'm trying to use, but like you remember
like
the old Nintendo 64 logo? How it was a 3-dimensional N, right? And
so like the GameCube cube was sort of three-dimensional
yeah,
stuff.
so
Yeah.
like basically make a coffee table that is the Nintendo 64 3-dimensional N with a glass
Oh,
top. And I can
oh,
like
nice.
live stream myself modeling the whole thing with my 3D modeling software. And
Mm,
then, I'll probably do a video later on of me building and painting it or whatever, right? But
yeah.
just I'm sure you've seen pictures of it. You see pictures on Google, Pinterest,
Mm.
whatever, of people that make 2 cabinets that go on either side of their TV that look like the Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons,
I've seen that. Yeah.
right? And I'm like, "I could totally build that. That's so easy." And I was like, "Well, why wouldn't I share that process with people?" And I'll start from very scratch, right? Like, "Okay, let's figure out the size of our TV, and we'll draw these up. We'll model them. I'll show you how I send them to my machines to cut everything out."
Mm.
And, so that's something I've been debating doing too. I think that would be kinda cool.
Yeah, it's always, if you're willing to put in the, because it's always a time factor, right? If you're willing to
Yeah.
put in the time for it, it can do it. Uh, I love Mass Effect for its story, and it's only £4 for the trilogy. Yeah, yeah, that's true.
Mass Effect was excellent.
Yeah,
I never finished number 3, to be
I
honest, but
I,
1, excellent.
I never even finished number one, so there's that.
Oh, number 1 was good. 2 was also really good. I don't think I finished number 2 either,
Yeah.
but the combat in number 2, they cranked it right up. It was much, much better combat in the second one.
Yeah, you could certainly tell graphically that it is behind in the times, but yeah, there's that. But yeah, his links on either Rumble or YouTube, it's down below in the description. And of course, for my end of things, right? Because it's not just him up here, okay?
You're the reason I'm here at all, so please
Well, don't
promote yourself.
well, don't you don't have to be don't be too much, but I appreciate all the same.
Nah, it's the truth, man. It's the truth.
Well, I try. But anyway, for whether you're on the Rumble side or whether you're on the YouTube side, if you wouldn't mind leaving a like.
Sorry. That was me. I accidentally kicked my doorstop.
I'm just like the cabinet door opener or
No,
something.
no. There's a doorstop under my desk, and I kicked it by accident. Sorry. Continue, please.
And then I'm just gonna start hearing it be like a musical, it's just like dun, 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 dun. Anyway. Oh man, I better let that one go. All right, but anyway, whether you're on the Rumble side, whether on YouTube side, if you wouldn't mind leaving a like, sharing the content, leaving a follow or comment, and if you're on Rumble, you can do a repost now. Anything that helps with the engagement factor, it's much appreciated because again, guys, not only does it help in being seen more, because that's what all creators want is to be seen more, but it also helps in bringing other people on, like Slinger Games, like Geek Storian from yesterday, and like so many other people, like at
Like
this point.
Chrono coming on tomorrow.
Yeah, well, Chrono's been on before, but he wasn't on one-on-one. When he came on, I had a gentleman on joining me for one of my Pay It Forward streams, and Chrono was going to come on later as a guest. But then he came
Oh.
on. They both had like a three, talking with each other and all that stuff. It was great until Tomby's internet went out, and so there was that. But we didn't really have a proper one-on-one like this. So
He's a great dude. He's
yeah.
a short story. When I first started looking into streaming and like I was just starting to kind of figure it out,
Mm.
I was watching one of his live streams on X because he multi streams to pretty much every platform, right?
Yeah.
And I asked him a question in the chat. I'm like, "Hey, your stream looks great. Like, if you don't mind me asking, what software are you using? Like, because I'm trying to figure this out and I'm lost."
Yeah.
And then my internet went out, and so I didn't hear his response. And he actually then DM'd me later that day and was like, "Hey, don't know if you heard my response in the live stream, but this is what I use. Let me know if you want to chat sometime." So I was like, "I
Uh,
would love some help." So he's like, "Okay, yeah, here's my Discord. Um, what time works for you?" And he actually took time out of his day. We had called and we talked for like an hour and a half, and he ran me through his entire setup and everything. And I was just like, wow, this dude is so nice. Like, just to do this to some random stranger who's
mhm.
just like, hey, I have no clue what I'm doing. Can you help me out? So he's a great guy. Props to him. I will forever remember that. It was so much appreciated. And I would I hope to watch some of it with him tomorrow, but I have a hockey game I got to call up, so I'm gonna be playing hockey.
Always the hockey with the Canadians here. There
Yeah,
you go.
sorry.
It's all right. It'll be on the replay. But anyway, again, guys, anything that helps with the engagement factor is much appreciated because, again, being seen by a lot of people and also having more people on, again, like Chrono and Slinger Games and all this stuff. Because, again, it's part of their deal where I've brought on. It doesn't have to be a creator or not, but I've brought on a lot of different people, over 130 different guests, and Of course, my next milestone for that is 200, so that'll most likely be next year. But it's just a lot of talking to people across the table because it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of, well, there is to some degree, but not in the sense of, there's always like it's about entertainment or it's about movies or whatever, and it's not really, or gaming, or it's not really a to the faction of you can go anywhere with it. Like you just start at a point and you just go anywhere. I'm not topic oriented. I know there's a lot of creators that are, and that's fine. You do what you will. But for me, I am more free to choose wherever I go instead of starting with, oh, let's talk about, oh, how some of the games are woke, or how some of these movies are bad, or just this or that or whatever. It's just more freeing to do it this way, and that's why I do what I do. So any help with the engagement factor helps with more of that, and also I have a link down below. You can find my stuff there. Look, guys, Slinger Games. You know what he did? He searched me up after a stream, and found me and asked to come on. And look where he is now. You see that? You see that? Look at that. Look at that. See, you too have the same possibility if you're willing to give it a try. So give
Ask
yourself.
and ye shall receive, as they say.
Well, careful with that because they'll ask a lot of different things. You're like, I don't think you need to receive that.
Give them an inch, they take a mile, right?
No, give them a mission, they'll take $1 million.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, so the link is down below. If you want to take up the opportunity to come on yourself, guess what? You can either leave a comment on either YouTube or Rumble, or you can go to the link down below, find my stuff, and we can get started from there. Because again, the door is open. Slinger Games took it. Don't know what you're waiting for. I mean, it's not that hard. We've already done over an hour of this stuff, just going wherever we want. It's not that hard, guys. There's that. So, but thank
Like,
you all
share,
for
and
that.
repost, everybody.
Yep,
It helps a lot.
repost because that's only on the Rumble side. What
Yeah.
Oh, there
I was
you
just
go.
gonna
And
say,
then,
I like we're an hour 10 in, and
there you
we
go.
haven't really talked about much gaming. We're
Yeah.
talking about units of measurement, temperature, Canada-US differences,
Thank
those
you, sir.
pesky French Canadians.
Send him a Christmas present, some chocolate. He what? Willing to help anyone out. And everyone, oh, there you go. Yes, there you go. I didn't get the hot chocolate though. I don't know what you're talking about. Well, I don't talk to more and would go, hey, you know what? Gaming, if people want to talk about gaming, it's fine, but that's up to them. But yeah, well, I mean, I talked to them gaming with Geek Story yesterday, but it's just not the main concern of why I do this in the first place. Like if it comes up somewhere, like you were talking about, you were wanting to mention like your work stuff with cabinet making, which I was like, well, how long have you even been doing that? Because that seems to be quite some time, to be honest.
Yeah, so I mean, if you want me to dive right into it, I'm happy to
I
tell
didn't
the
bring.
story.
I didn't bring. Don't be so Canadian. Just go into it.
Okay, I'm sorry. See, there, the Canadian again apologizing. Um, Yeah, so as I stated before, my grandparents being German immigrants,
Mm,
my grandfather, or in German we call them Opa and Oma, so Opa
Opa,
being grandfather. So my
Opa.
Opa was a cabinet maker by trade in
Oh,
Germany, um, and they immigrated to Canada in, I want to say 55,
mm,
1952,
mm,
sometime around there after World War II.
mm.
Um, Also, fun fact, my Oma, my grandmother, illegally crossed the Berlin Wall and got shot at and
Ooh,
didn't get hit.
that's
Um,
good.
but anyways, we'll go into the historical stuff later because that's a bunch of wild stories.
Right.
So came to Canada um, and started working as a cabinet maker.
Mm,
And they were renting a place with an empty basement, like an apartment, and then there was a basement that wasn't being used. So he
yeah.
started building furniture on the side on his evenings and weekends to help make some extra money.
Right.
And he eventually worked his way up and started his own company.
Mm,
I think it was called General Wood Products. And he would do retail stores, but he would do the
mm,
whole installation. So he would do the drywall, all the standards in the walls,
mm.
whatever. And also he had his own wood shop that would build all the millwork and cabinetry. So then they
Interesting.
would deliver those and install them as
Mm,
well. My dad worked for him. And then for health reasons, my Opa had to retire
right.
early. And so my dad worked for the new owners because he sold the company.
Oh, okay.
He worked for them for a couple years, and then him and one other employee, a
Mm,
Portuguese guy,
mm.
went and started their own company.
Right.
And they've been in business. Well, my dad's business partner retired 10 years ago,
Okay.
but he's been in business for 35 years now.
Hmm.
I've been there full time for 10 years, almost to the day.
Mhm.
But before that, I mean, I was there every summer since I was 14, right? So,
Right.
um, funny story on that is Canada Day is July 1st. So
Mm,
July 1st, I'm 14 years old. I get woken up at 6 a.m. by my dad,
mm.
just shaking me. And I'm like, oh, what's going on? He goes, get up. I go, where are we going? He's like, get up. We're going to work. And I'm like, it's Canada Day. It's a holiday. And he's like, I said, get up and let's go. I'm like, okay. So I went to work with him and I was just like sanding wood blocks for 4 hours.
Yeah.
Um, and then we're driving back home. He goes, by the way, you're working the rest of the summer. So you're full time for the rest of the summer. And I'm just like, uh, okay, I guess, right? Like, I guess I don't have a choice.
Right.
And I really like it. I love my job.
Mhm.
And yeah, so I was there every summer. I had a lot of dedication. Like when I was in college, my dad would call me while I'm commuting back and forth, and he'd be like, "When's your last day?" I'm like, "Oh, Wednesday is my last exam." "What time's your exam?" I'm like, "It's from 8 till 10." He's like, "So you're done at 10 a.m.?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "So you can be at the shop by noon?" I'm like, sure." So literally going from my final exam right to work, and
Jeez.
we've just been really, fortunate, blessed, whatever you want to call it, to have
Mhm.
good customers, and the work kind of just keeps coming. We take a lot of pride in our work. We try to do a really good job and go above and beyond. And
Mm.
we do all kinds of stores, all over North America. We've sent some as far as Dubai.
Ooh,
Um, yeah, we did a Tommy Bahama store in Dubai,
nice.
and I know it's part of the US, but Hawaii we've done before as well.
Mhm.
And yeah, so it's a pretty cool business. Like we don't work directly for the stores or the brands.
Mhm.
So they usually hire a company to handle the entire construction process of their entire store. And
Right.
then they will reach out to us and be like, "Hey, here's these units, how much?" And we
Mhm.
say, "Oh, X amount for each." And they'll go, "Okay, great. Here's your purchase order. Please produce them." We build
Mhm.
them. Truck shows up at our facility. We push them on the truck, and they leave, and we never see them again.
This is Cabinet Timmy right here. He look at him. He can see him now. No, that's pretty awesome because like you said earlier, you work with different arenas in North America, and to uh, to have that beyond the scope of what you have to use for measurement stuff. It's pretty interesting to be able to do that. And not only that, but like halfway across the world too, because um, I don't. While it may sound like a bit of a dreary bit, like you're being forced to work, but you have a well-to-do job that everyone needs cabinets to some degree,
Yeah, and
right?
and you honestly, like, I love what I do. It's not
Mm,
a chore to get up and go to work.
yeah.
Like, it's great. I like this comment by Davey. This is great. My dad did pay me, actually. He was always generous, but, it was always intimidating going and asking him for a raise.
Dad, it's been 3 years, and it's like, what job are you doing? I just came into. Are you done with it yet? No, but I came. No, then you got to get back out there and get
No,
the work done.
get out. No, you know
Yeah.
what? Actually, his deal for when he had his business partner was
Yeah.
he said, "I don't do your wages, Jack does."
Okay.
And so it's like if I wanted a raise, I had to go to Jack, and that they were smart with that because Jack's son also worked there for a bit. We had a little bit of overlap. He's
Yeah.
since moved on. His son actually ended up getting a job with Rockstar,
Ooh.
developing games. Yeah, said it was horrible. Um, but that's always what they did. It was like I'm not like you don't pick your own child's wages. Your
Yeah.
business partner will pick what their wages are, and that way you keep it fair, and you're
Yeah.
not being biased towards your own kids.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, we build tons of cool stuff, lots of different materials,
Mm,
um, and I'm very fortunate to have had that opportunity. Like I
mm,
have a house and
mm.
a decent car, and it's like I'm it's good. I'm happy with what I do. I like getting up and going to the shop, and I
Yeah.
like the guys I work with, and it's just not a chore. And it really makes me think about other people that hate getting up and going to work. And I go, man, that's just so sad. Like you should really love what you do. And it's just if you don't love what you do, what's the point?
Yeah, well, and the thing of it is majority of the time it's just out of necessity, right? You're not doing
Yeah,
it because you want to do it. It's done because I gotta keep the roof over my head. I've got to put food, especially if you
yeah,
have kids, that even makes it more than. But at the end of the day, though, you're right in the sense of you should find something you want to do. Here's some horror stories about Rockstar. Yeah, no, that's I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that at all, David Verse. Um, but yeah, it's sort of like with me with doing this, right? I don't enjoy doing my full time job. I mean, it pays for my bills, but I would rather much do this, more than not because one, I get to meet a lot of different people. It doesn't matter where they're from, like Canada and Australia and UK and whatever. But
yeah,
it's about reaching across the amount of people that are out there, right? That one can reach to is astronomical, right? Like me doing what I am right now, if I did one person per day, that would equate to the rest of my life because there's so many different variety of people out there. Some may
yep,
not be connected to the internet, and that's fine, but I have more options than it feels like most creators do getting stuck with talking about certain topics, so like entertainment or whatever. I have more options than ever before. It's just people have to be willing to take up the opportunity to come on themselves. I can only do half the work. The other person has to do the rest. And sometimes I get a no. Sometimes I get a not right now.
yep.
Sometimes I get a yes and I don't hear anything anymore. It's just
That's the worst. That would drive me mental. But
oh
it's so cool. You get to talk and interact with so many different people, and there's so many cool, unique people out there, and everyone's got a unique, cool story to tell. And
mm,
I think it's awesome that you give them the chance to say it, right? Like, that's part of the reason I was so excited to come on is like, yeah, like it's great for promotion of my channel and everything. But it's also like, again, not in an arrogant way. I think I've got some cool stories to tell, right?
yeah.
I've had a unique life. I've had some wild experiences, right? Like I got notes that I typed up for this in case I needed something to talk about. But like, I've
Chapter 1, I went on, was
yeah.
disappointed.
Yeah. Let's start at the very beginning.
Back in so and
It
so's
was
time.
Valentine's Day 1991. My parents were newly married. No,
It's a little too far. Let's hold the brakes on that. Hold
no,
the
but
brakes
like
on.
even I mean, we don't need to go this way too. But like in my notes, we had an issue or not an issue. I don't know what to call it, but must have been 4 or 5 years ago. Some
Mhm.
guy came by our shop to visit a friend of the family, and he had a heart attack in the office and died. And me and one other guy did CPR on him and actually saved his life. And
Wow,
he's still alive today, right? And it's just like
nice.
these are wild stories that, um,
Yeah.
that I think should be told, right? And my anecdote to that is just why are we not teaching kids CPR in school? You shouldn't be able to graduate high school unless you know CPR. It is literally life saving. You may only need to do it once in your life, but that one time, if it works, is worth it,
Yeah.
right?
No, and
So,
it's like with swimming. People should be able to know how to swim. It's just
yeah,
they don't take up the sometimes you have kids who, have parents who don't take them to swim classes, whatever, and they end up growing scared of the water and they don't go to the beach and they kind of live with that fear because, anything's better than drowning and
yeah,
then not being able to see the sunshine. But
yeah.
no,
That's a
you're not.
horrible way to go. Drowning
Oh,
is got to be a horrible way to go. But it's shocking how many people don't know how to swim,
yeah.
right?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I
Even
don't remember
adults.
learning how to swim.
Mm.
I'm pretty sure my dad just threw me in the lake.
No, he threw you in the lake with a cinder block and he said, "Start swimming."
Yeah.
He said, "This is shallow water." I said, "I know you're going to drag it back home with you."
Yeah.
Um, but um, but no, that's like with the what YouTube was is it was about you, right?
Yeah.
YouTube is basically named YouTube, and it was basically about you and what you wanted to tell. And it's so oversaturated now that it's mostly just about what finds the algorithm, whatever gets you found or noticed. The point of the matter of doing this is that it's not just about the stories, it's just about having a conversation across the way because you don't really have that much anymore, or it doesn't feel like you have that much anymore, right? You have the politics section of things, you've got the gaming and industry section of things, you've got
Yep.
this section of things. It's all people work within their thing, their niches, whatever, and that's fine, but there's no reaching across the way. I've talked to people from Twitch. I've talked to one person from Kick. There are two There are so many opportunities for many people to bridge the gap and not be, of course, there's multi-streaming, of course, obviously, but I don't stream to Twitch. I don't stream to Quick. And yet somehow through Twitter X, I was able to get them on and have them on. And now I have the possible opportunity later down the line to have them on again. It's just they have to take that step to come back on again. I can only ask, and they'd be like, well, because again, that's my biggest mode of communication is through Twitter X because I can't, it's I have made public posts in the past,
Yeah,
but
I was gonna say I saw Elon tweeted something today, and he goes, "X is the global group chat," and I'm like, "Yeah, that is so true." Right? Like, there's over 1 billion users. It's like you can find so many people and connect with people with shared interests and
yeah.
just have really unique, engaging conversations with people from all over the place. Right?
Yeah, it's time past the point where you get past the niches and all that stuff. And I'm not saying everyone has to do it, but at a certain point, content creators build a circle, right? And it's understandable. Trust, reliability, that sort of thing. You build a
Yeah.
group, and then you just kind of stay there. But I've built most people too. And then he says, Dave Beaver says, kick up and coming, but Amazon said, well, they both run on Amazon servers, so both kick in Twitch, but Twitch is owned by Amazon.
Twitch is a zoo though. Like you go on Twitch, like the platform, like their Twitch studio or whatever you want to call it for actually doing your live stream. And
Yeah.
it's just like, holy crap, what's going on? And it's like, oh, we do drops and subs and this and that. And I'm just like, I was like, this is too much. Like I just want to broadcast my game and make some advertising dollars to help offset my costs a little bit. That's really all I need.
That's all dependent on your viewership though, and that's one thing after
Yeah.
another.
Actually,
But
can I ask you a question on this then? Because
sure.
I have this in my notes. I want to get your opinion. How do you feel with the direction that social media, specifically platforms like YouTube, Rumble, um, are heading in regards to basically having premium content?
Paid for content, is that what you're asking
Yeah,
for?
so it's like here's your base channel, right? Like you can watch Dara and this, we watch the first 2 hours, but then we're gonna have the post show, and you got to be a member to watch the post show stuff because that's where we go into whatever else, right? What's your take on that? I'll tell you mine after. I'm curious what you think about that and whether you think it's good for the industry.
Well, as far as I know, at least for say YouTube Premium, Rumble Premium, the base point is that one, it gets you past watching ads, right? Because that's the one thing people don't want to watch.
Oh, I'm not even referring to like YouTube Premium to skip ads. That's fine. I'm talking about like the membership things. Like you can have like
So
join
like
like
the monthly sub, are you talking about the monthly sub
I
membership
guess like
or?
YouTube has it. It's like there's like members only content where you have
Yeah, yeah,
to.
member only streams or something. Well, that's I think for Rumble that's possibly coming with the locals integration with Rumble because it's gonna be a slow process because again Rumble does own locals and of course I was talking to one of the people who do work at Rumble so to speak and they want to get it right. They
Mhm.
want to get that process right because if you do it too wrong it's gonna be like this pile of crap and they've already got enough bad piranhas trying to bat it, which only promotes. Well, maybe, but I don't know. And then of
Yeah.
course he says,
Davey, you know what's funny about Twitch in general?
Mm,
Um, and yes, that comment about it feeling like cable, I 100% agree with you on that one. That's what it's starting to feel like for me too.
mm,
But I said to my wife the other day, I was like looking through Twitch and like uh streaming on Rumble, and then like I always raid at the end of my streams. So I'm always looking for people, and I try and pick people who have low views, like low viewer counts, because I want to pass along any viewers that I have to them. But I would like went and talked to her after my stream, and she's like, "Oh, how'd it go?" And I was like, "You know what? I think I've experienced workplace sexism for the first time in my life." And she's like, "What do you mean?" I go, "I am at such a disadvantage. I'm an ugly dude."
yeah,
And it's like you look at some of these streamers and it's like, who's got all the views? It's all these women with their boobs hanging out. And I'm like, that's
cleavage,
an
yep,
unfair advantage.
yep, the
I'm not going to
cleavage,
get clicks when they've got that hanging out there.
yeah. Well, you got amaranth on there. You get a bunch of them, but I mean,
Yeah.
it's allowed to the degree that Twitch allows it, and you know, people, I think a majority, and I'll get back to your question, but to understand is that I don't think a lot of people understand what it costs to run a stream, not only a streaming site, because that's what Kick and Twitch are.
Yeah, yeah.
They're streaming, but you add video sharing, you add shorts, you add streaming to that, the whole kibosh that YouTube does. The amount of resources and manpower that has to go into that, I doubt very many people understand what it takes. And
Oh yeah.
I'm
Their
I'm
s-
run-
their servers must cost them a fortune. And
servers, bandwidth. Well, it's AWS, so I don't know, because
oh, that's expensive. I got a buddy who works for AWS. It's not cheap.
yeah, Twitch and Kick run the same thing. So I don't know what the I'll send you a wig. Why would you send a wig?
And
What's you're
he's
trying to
sending me a wig, right?
oh,
And
okay.
then I'm gonna stuff some stuff in my shirt.
Just two
For-
two balloons full of sand right
yeah,
there.
and I gotta shave off my beard to make myself look more feminine, and then we'll see if the viewership goes up.
I am Tiffany, and I'm here to sell stuff. um, but yeah, it's a lot. The bandwidth, the servers, the engineers, right? Engineers and
Oh
developers,
yeah.
those cost a lot
Oh yeah.
depending on what section they go to. They cost a lot. Just looking at the basis estimate of an engineer, 8 digits.
Wow.
8 digits alone. And people, and I get the complaint, right? Oh, it's, the Rumble thing, that it's not up to YouTube standards, whatever. Let me put something down for you kids. If they don't have the resources to compete up to that level yet, then it's going to be very difficult to try to compete, because they have to keep not only an ability to keep up with, say, being able to pay for the bills, their current bills, right? The power for all the servers, because they are taking on building from the ground up, their own servers, all that stuff. They're doing that all on their own. And while it could be a little cheaper, right? The amount of resources that has to go into finding the people who know how to do this stuff, like
Mhm.
developers and engineers and all server network people, you can't afford it. A paycheck alone for one of those people would probably set you to life for a year, basically.
Oh,
Well,
probably more.
probably more of that deal. Well, minus the taxes, you never know. But the thing it is that a lot of people, they just go to YouTube and say, "Oh, it's so easy to use. I can just do this." That they don't understand how it got to that point. They don't understand the amount of people behind it that made it that point, or the resources for all the Google resources, because that's pretty much basically infinite at this point.
Yeah. I
But
mean, they have more money than God, like Google does. So they just do whatever the hell they want at this point. They make
yeah,
so much money. But their power bills and stuff, like their expenses must be insane. Did you hear about that one guy? I think he got prison time because he would just invoice Google
yeah,
stuff and they would pay him because they just had so many expenses they didn't know whether or not it was real.
jeez.
And he got like hundreds of thousands of dollars from Google.
Oh, there's what there was that couple that played Fortnite. The bloke played off stream, and the wivy pretended it was.
Pretended it was
Oh,
her.
the wifey
Mhm.
pretended it was her. They raked in for. Hey, more power to them.
I thought about doing that with my wife. I was like, "Here, I got you this real low cut top. You sit here and pretend to play, and I'll actually play the game off camera, and we'll
If
see
your
if."
if your wife loves you enough, she would have slapped you in the face.
No, she would have been like, "No." She right away. She's like, "No." But she did say she's like, "You know what? I'll come on and play a co-op game with you because
Yeah.
like she sucks at video games, like horrible." And she's also that type of person that will intentionally wreck your game.
Yeah,
Right? Like, there was one time we were playing Lego City Undercover just for kicks, right?
yeah, yeah.
And, we're, like, running around doing whatever, and then I hop out of the vehicle to go grab something, and I go back, I go, "Where's our truck?" And, I look at her screen, and she's driving it off the cliff into the ocean, and I'm like, "Now we gotta run all the way to get a new one," and, like, I've tossed around the idea of playing, Stardew Valley with her, and I'm like, "I
Yeah,
know what you're gonna do. I'm gonna
yeah.
plant my crops, and you're gonna go dig them up, and
You
you're
know
gonna
what?
laugh the whole time."
You know what? Just have her play Fortnite with you, and she'll probably not do as much damage.
I can't stand Fortnite. I can't play that game. It's
They've
so
got racing
torturous.
on. They got racing and Lego stuff on there. You never know.
Yeah,
Um, but it's understandable. But
yeah.
yeah,
Anyways,
it's
what I was getting at with the whole thing was,
yeah. Back
in
to your
my
back to
mind,
your.
yeah, back to my original question here was like,
What was
you
your question again?
just do you like the way that it's heading, right? Because like I felt like I'm going to use YouTube as the example here, but at
Right.
first YouTube was like here's YouTube, and it's just you can upload your video and people all around the world can watch it, and it's awesome, it's great. And then it became this thing where it's like, oh, I have a channel, and I have my own thing that I do, and there's some phenomenal channels on YouTube, right? Like I loved game theory.
Mhm.
There's an engineering explained one which like goes through how electric motors work, how
Yeah.
solid state. I watched this one on how solid state drives work, and my
Mhm.
brain melted. Like it's just you watch these things, you go, I can't believe humans actually build these things. It's amazing.
Yep.
Um, Modern Vintage Gamer was another one I really enjoyed on YouTube. So they're like building their channel. It's really cool, and it's like it's almost like it's its own TV channel,
Yeah.
right? And it's all free. It's great. And then like I get subscribing to YouTube Premium to get rid of ads. I think that's fine, right? So if you
Mhm.
want to pay a premium to not watch ads, I'm okay with that. Um, and if you want it to be free, you got to watch an ad every 5 minutes. Big deal, right? Like
Yeah.
it was still a major upgrade over cable TV where you're paying $100 a month and you're still watching ads,
Too
right?
many. Too
Yeah.
many.
So, but now it's kind of it feels to me like it's and I understand why the creators are doing this, so I'm not blaming the creators for it because I'm sure
Uh,
they get gouged on how much money they actually take home compared to like YouTube actually making off of them with the
yeah.
advertisements.
Yeah.
But it's like I don't like this idea of being like, here's the base content and here's the premium content that you have to pay for. So it's
Yeah.
gone from a free service to a freemium service, and it just rubs me the wrong way, and I hate it. Like I'm okay with um, subscriptions. Like it's like if you want to subscribe to my channel,
Mhm.
um, Gamer Nexus just
Just
tour the
toward the.
Intel.
Oh.
Ooh, that'd be cool. See where Intel makes their stuff.
Yeah.
I would actually watch that. Like if someone wanted to subscribe to my channel and send me $2 a month, I think like I would forever grateful. I'd be like, thank you so much. That means so much that you think I'm worthy of $2 a month.
You.
But to be like, oh, you want there's my regular stream, but if you want to see the good stuff, you got to subscribe to my Patreon or subscribe to my membership or do
Mhm.
this. And it's just it feels like that gatekeeping almost, and it I get why they're doing it, but it just makes me feel so lousy because it's like it's
Mhm.
not supposed to be that. You know what I mean?
Well, I stated this a while ago, but my stated this. It was while it's helpful, monetization kind of killed creativity because if money wasn't involved in creating this stuff, how many people do you think would be creating content? But
Yeah.
the problem of it is why they do, like, YouTube does the monthly memberships, and then of course the super chats, whatnot. They take a cut of that back to support again their stuff that they have to pour money in for streaming, for storage, and all this,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
the multitude of stuff. So part of it is the site itself, right? They have to do all the serving of the maintenance, they all that stuff, right? All that stuff that makes the people they employ to the equipment they buy and have to rebuy or upkeep or whatever. There's all that stuff. All that stuff costs money. I'm sorry to tell you, kids, all the things you believe are streaming for free cost you money.
Yeah,
More or
yeah.
less through Google, because you have to have a Google account and all that stuff. But the problem is, I can't afford to sub to everyone. No, and that's totally that's
Yeah.
understandable. No one, you just have to sub to
Davey,
everyone.
I would never beg you for money, right? Like, I wouldn't expect it
I
either.
w- I would try it, but you just laugh in my face, so I'm not going to do
No,
that.
well, you know what a
Yeah,
good example, just like to show you where I'm at with this, is I
mm,
used to have a pinned uh, Twitter X post at the top of my profile,
yeah,
and it basically said, "I don't want your money. I want the advertisers' money. I want YouTube's money. I want Rumble's money. I don't want my viewers' money. But if you can't do a sub or whatever, then here's my referral link. We have a banking company here in Canada called Wealth Simple. It's like
mm,
here's my referral code. If you open an account with Wealth Simple, we each get $25,
mm.
right, for investing and like invest in your own future. And this helps me too. Or I mean, like I said, the car that I drive a Tesla. It's just a base Model 3. It's nothing crazy.
Ooh,
Um,
fancy.
Used to be, but like relatively now, it's pretty straightforward. But it's like,
uh,
um, if you're looking at getting a Tesla, use my referral code. That would mean the world to me, right? Like, I don't want you guys to have to give me your hard-earned money. Watch my videos. I'll make a little bit of ad money, right? Like, I haven't made a penny off of Rumble yet. It's my account shows 15 cents,
mm,
and I don't think they pay out till you hit $50. So it's like
yeah,
I'm so far off from that.
yeah.
Um, but it's just like, watch my content, share it. Like that's the stuff that I really want people to do. I don't want your subs. I don't want your, you know, premium sub. If you want to do a donation, if you want to sub, great, but I'm not going to be out here begging for it, right? Like I'm here
No.
because I want to be here, not because I need to make the money from it, right? It's a hobby.
Yeah.
And I just hate, like I said, I hate that direction where everything's kind of shifting where it's like, if you want to support my channel, here's my Patreon. And I'm like, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it, but and like it's fine to have, but when you start locking stuff and creating a paywall, it's like, no, this is not what this is supposed to be.
It's a bonus, right?
Yeah.
When you have a members only stream or whatever, that's a bonus for people who pay for the monthly memberships. Because like monthly subs, if you just have a monthly sub, you're just subbing for $5. What are they getting out of it, right? Because other than seeing your content, they want a little something extra. So now you have it's multivariate. It's not just one answer. I'm not going to give you one answer either. It's multivariate because part of it is, again, it's money that's getting taken out from that, and it goes back to the platform itself, right? Because you're not getting, I mean, with Rumble you're getting 100% of your monthly sub, but YouTube you're getting like 70%.
Yeah, because YouTube takes 30. Yeah.
Yeah, I think 30. So while I understand that part, right, and I'm on that same.
That was the doorstop
Yeah,
again. I'm sorry.
I know. I heard.
I got to remove that. You want me to remove? Let me remove that real quick.
I was like, what the heck? Oh, it's this thing.
There we go. It's gone. Problem
we go.
solved.
Now he's not like, ah. But
as soon as I kicked it, I was like, oh, did he hear that?
Hey,
one
Geek
again?
Storian. No, you're all right. You know what? Hey, it's all right.
Hey, Geek Storian. I watched you last night. That was great. Great show. And I'm actually, I am going to follow you. I meant to do that earlier today and have not had a chance yet.
Yeah, you just click on his PFP and on his name there, and it'll take you directly to him.
Oh, sweet.
Amazon bad for that. Their publishing only pays out every $100 monthly. It took like 5 months to make my first payment. Ain't seen my second. Yeah, it's. So when you were talking about advertising, right? You want the advertisement money. Where do you think the advertisement money comes from?
Advertisers that put their ads on the platform, right? But it's same thing. I know they're taking a cut of that too.
No. That advertiser money comes from the same customer base that you don't want to take the monthly subs and stuff from, because advertisers aren't going to give money to a platform to promote their ads if they're not getting that return back. Yeah, so basically you're just saying I don't want that, which is fine. You are with your, I don't say that either, right? I have some people who subscribe to me too, and I never asked for it, but I'm always appreciative. But you're basically telling the advertiser people that they can just take that. They can just take that instead of it going directly to you.
Yeah, because the advertisers aren't going to advertise there unless they're getting something from it, which
Yeah.
is going to be people purchasing whatever product. So it's almost like a roundabout way of taking it from your viewers anyway.
Yeah.
So you might as well just go direct to the source, right?
Yeah.
It's
because
like I said, I don't have a problem with memberships or subscribing and like paying a monthly thing to support a channel you like. It's the paywalling stuff that it bothers me, right? And I understand if you want to pay money to like get extra content, you can, but then we kind of run into that whole societal problem where it's like the people that have money get what they want, right? Like people who have money get better healthcare because they can afford better healthcare, specifically up here, right? Like we have some private healthcare, and it's like if you want quick results, you got to pay for it. You can go to a private clinic and get your results same day, or you can wait 8 months to get in at a doctor's office because they're backed up that badly, right? So it creates that almost inequality that I don't necessarily like, specifically on a free platform, essentially, right? But I get your point too. It's a valid point.
It's free for you to use, but it's not free to use because the problem comes back to the cost of what it keeps to even have something with. So I had Scottish Viking Gaming on Friday, and we were kind of hit that point, and we were kind of going over some data of how much does it cost for the bandwidth and all this stuff. It only gave me like for YouTube it only gave me like from 2009, but it cost $360 million in 2009 for YouTube to run. Can you imagine that? The money they're getting either way, either straight from the, taking the chunk from the creators, people that are doing the content stuff, and or the advertisers, which are getting money from the whatever anyway. The problem of it is that while it's understandable from your end, right? It feels like it's a cop out, or paywalling, as you said. But at the end of the day, though, a lot of people are going into this because they want to make a uh, career out of it, and many do, and have all those bonuses and things. Because they got to provide more content and more content and more content. And all this stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, it's a
But
grind for sure.
it's just for me when I brought up, as soon as you say, oh, you're Canada, as soon as you say healthcare and up here, yep,
Right?
there you go.
You would
My
say A next.
and
Pretty
that's
obvious, eh?
well, and again, that's where my comment I had made a long time ago was like, while helpful, monetization did kind of destroy creativity.
Yeah,
But again, you wouldn't have these platforms because they have to take money somewhere. Yeah, you could say the advertisers, but advertisers don't really pay out that much. I don't believe, depending on the platform, right? They could do more from
yeah.
one platform to another.
I'm not super well informed in it, being as new to this whole space as I am. It was just
Yeah,
a thought I had, right? Where I was like, there's channels I would watch, or creators I would follow, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, here's the good stuff, but you got to pay me for it, and I'm like, well, don't extort me, like.
yeah. Well, and but the thing of it is that you get to choose at that
Yeah,
point, right?
yeah,
If
yeah,
this creator is all gonna, hide a majority of their stuff behind a paywall, and there's only gonna be like a small fraction, then you could say, "Well, I just don't watch it anymore," and then you leave.
yeah,
That is where that freeness lies, is that you can go to any other creator who might provide in some vein the content you're looking for, but I guess the best answer I can give you is just is what it is. And unfortunately it's not gonna be changing very much, because unless you say like move, I don't know if I'd say move everything over to crypto, but you would have in the way that the government couldn't take taxes out of it or whatever. It's just a lot of it's just a lot. It's like a yarn ball, right? But it's not one single color. It's like multicolored going to one yarn ball, and pulling one string pulls another. It's so much. It's so much. And Davey says you're the same. Yes, same. Agreed, Slinger. It's getting stupid. You could YouTube Red or Rumbleton be an umbrella to membership content, possibly, but then again, they still need money to run,
yeah.
and I
I
don't know.
When you're comparing like YouTube to Rumble, it's not exactly a fair comparison either,
No,
because Google has so many other resources that they could essentially lose money on YouTube
and
and
they
keep
lose
it
money on
running.
YouTube. Yeah,
Yeah, right. But like I said, I think it's also a perception thing where we've become so accustomed to having digital stuff for free, right? Like
yeah.
I'm the other day, a couple weeks ago, whenever it was, um, I was looking and this person's like, "Oh, I've created 4K texture packs for Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker and
Mm,
a couple other GameCube games." It's like if you play them on an emulator, you can add this texture pack, and the game is upscaled to like it's got 4K textures and everything. And I'm looking
mhm.
at the screenshots. I'm like, "Oh my god, this thing is gorgeous!" Right? Like I want this. So it's like download link here, right? So I'm like, okay, well, let me take a look. So I open it and it's like, yeah, you got to be subscribed to his Patreon to download the files. And I'm like, oh, this guy's what a jerk, blah blah blah. But at the same time, I'm like, he made these texture packs. If he wants to make $4 off them, who am
Yeah,
I to say that he's being selfish, right? But we're
yeah,
so accustomed to, you know, all the great nerds and geeks of the world that make awesome free plugins and free stuff online to make our lives better, that you kind of just expect it to come for free. And,
yeah.
being that we've kind of watched YouTube and other, web
Twitch.
video platforms, yeah,
Yeah,
start from nothing to where it's just free and grow and grow and grow and grow. Now we're being like, well, back in the day, you didn't have to pay for YouTube. It was free, right? So it's, I guess, just a
it's
harder pill for us to swallow.
yeah, and that's where the thing of the dissonance comes from, is the perception of it is it's free for me to use, but you don't understand that it's not free.
It's not a free thing to run,
Yeah,
obviously, right?
it's not a free, because
Yeah.
there's a cost, right? There's nothing. I mean, there's not really. I wouldn't really say there's nothing in life that's not free, but there more than not. When something is free, it's not free. Like you go to a store and they give out samples. What do you think it costs them to give out those samples? They
Yeah.
had to pay to give out those samples. Or what if you go to a car dealership, right? And you're going to test out a car. That gas that you use isn't free for you to
Yeah,
use
and the
because the deal.
water and the coffee they give you when you show up and stuff, and it
Yeah.
costs them money in the hope that they're gonna make more money off of it, right? So
Yeah, off of you. So there is a basic of transference of funds, and I don't know if crypto will change that, but at the end of the day, there's still a transference of funds. And of course, Geek Story was saying Amazon loses money on Twitch. Yes, they do, but they don't tend to want to dump a ton more money into the product that loses money. He continues that with they give them enough to maintain. True, but sooner or later, the maintainedness is not going to be enough. Like they,
well, I mean, listen, Amazon makes so much money, they're trying to find losses. Like, it wouldn't
yeah,
surprise me if they're trying to find losses, right? Like,
yeah,
it's like
with tax
they're
write off.
they're yeah, their taxes are so high, they might as well buy something that loses money so that they can
Tax write off,
get
yeah.
some sort of deduction, right?
Yeah,
And I'm sure, they write off some stuff that's actually personal, right? Like,
yeah. And I also think too, while you could say it's a paywall, it could also be for those people that follow that person. It could also be like uh, a walled garden in a sense, because you do have people who troll that person or whatever. And so having that, I mean, those people could pay into it too, but they may not find it worth enough
it's
to
yeah,
pay
it's a
into it.
good disincentive to keep the riffraff away too, right?
Yeah.
So, no, very
It's,
good. You know what? I once we're done, I'm gonna start a Patreon, and I'm gonna make a membership, and I'm gonna start doing member-only streams.
look, this was not the point of it. The point it was trying to get across that it's complicated.
Yeah,
At the basic point, it's complicated because a lot of the stuff requires you to understand that while you call it free to use these things, right? Like it's free for me, free for me to use Rumble Studio, even though I give the 10 a month, right? I do the 10 a month, I don't get the watermark or whatever. It's not free.
yeah,
It's in its basic form, it's not free. It's not free. It's free for me to stream, but it's not free. It's that duality of using these things. There's a duality there, and
yeah,
you only see the one side and pay attention to that one side. And other people are like, well, I could do this, and that. I could do 4K on YouTube, but I can't do 4K on Rumbles. Like, but you don't understand the cost and the scalability and all the stuff that goes with it. You
yeah,
understand this thing free. Why not this thing free? I mean, at that point, we're
yeah,
just pointing out caveman talk. And
yeah.
hey, Frog.
Cool
Um,
Frog, what's up, buddy?
Nice to see you, sir. Rings of power, for example. Well, that's a different story altogether. I'm not going to get into that. But
Sounds like a southern accent. Is he referring to the Lord of the Rings there?
it's the rings of power, the
The
Amazon
Rings of Power.
rings of power. That probably I saw someone do an AI video of rings of power, but it was in like the like trailer house sort of thing. It was like the trailer park. Yeah, it
Yeah,
was
no, I'm
funny.
laughing at Davey's comment here. Dare will be having a New Year's OF.
No, I will not be having any New Year's party. So I usually go to bed at a time, or I do something else. But I'm not going to be. Some people are. That's fine. I don't do it. It's just I take time off for a reason, and of course, next week I'll be having up until like Christmas. The day after Christmas Day, I'll be back. But then the next week. Yeah, from Saturday to Wednesday I'm off, and then the week after that I'm off from Saturday to Wednesday because I had some time, vacation time and all that stuff. So I was like, I might as well use some of it and personal time as well. I didn't, because at my work, personal time renews itself every year at the beginning of the year.
Oh, so you gotta
So
use it.
yeah, well, yeah, well, I wanted to use it too, so I had just enough to do like Christmas and New Year's Eve. So there's that. They're epic. Yeah, yep. The Lord of the Rings. In the trailer park. Yeah, that was fun. And that's another thing too is with AI video and all that stuff. How much people will maybe make a video, a movie, and they won't have to rely on all the big
Yeah.
stuff to make it.
AI is a great example too of cost for stuff, right? People are like, what do you
Mhm.
mean I gotta pay for Chat GPT now? It's like, do you realize how much processing power and electricity it costs just to answer your request?
Oh
By the way,
yeah.
sorry, before we get to it, Davey, you gotta send me the link to that Intel video you were talking about.
Oh
Throw
yeah.
that in the chat or DM me on Twitter X or whatever works
Yeah.
for you. I wanna watch that.
Yeah.
I'm also curious what this Lord of the Rings trailer park
I saw it on
AI
Twitter
thing.
X, but I don't know if it's on YouTube. But yeah, going back to all this stuff. While I get where you're coming from, and it is understandable because I was wet that way at the beginning. Like for me, like I didn't want to ask for likes, I didn't want to ask for follows, whatever. I just wanted to do this conversation thing and be it. But I also know that in this game that we're playing for doing content creation, if you want more people to watch, if you want more people to follow you, or all this stuff, you kind of do have to ask for it. And there's no shame in asking for it as long as you know, like,
Not
kind
annoying
about
with
it,
it.
whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
not annoying with it because some people do. But for me, it's all about, hey, you enjoy this thing, all that free stuff. Yeah, you can share it, Davyverse. You can link it. You should be able to. You're a mod, duh. I mean, you're a mod over there in YouTube. But yeah, it's just one of those things that's understandable. But I also understand the other side of the coin where
No,
it's yeah, yeah,
your
it's
perspective was great on that.
I,
Sorry I interrupted you there, but I never thought of it that way. It
mm,
it totally makes sense and makes it very understandable, right? It
yeah,
costs them a lot of money to have the stuff running,
yeah.
and you could see why. If I'm taking 70%, I'm getting as little as I am. How much is it costing them, right? Like Rumble's got to be losing money on my streams based on what I generate,
Well,
right?
yeah, on their overhead. I think someone said their overhead was losing money, but I mean, almost all companies operate at a loss for a certain period of time,
Yeah.
and it's not gonna change anytime soon. That's just how companies work. But I mean, there's hope in that over time that'll get better and better. But I mean, even YouTube operates at a loss. Twitch operates at a loss.
I would
It's
argue that's intentional though, right? Then you don't have to pay any taxes
we're
if you show no gains, right? Like I bet you a lot of those losses come from big bonuses to CEOs and higher ups in management that they intentionally do to make sure they don't pay taxes.
Yeah, well, and also the part too is that comparing to Twitch and YouTube stuff, they have extra things that YouTube is Google,
Yeah.
Amazon, Twitch is Amazon, Rumble is its own. So
Yep.
there is a certain of understandability of why that accordance. But beyond those other ones, some are going into the crypto field, some are just doing the regular stuff. At the end of the day, um, you want to create content, great, use it for it. It is what it is. You'll use it, and advertisers will fill the spot more or less. But at the end of the day, it has to be understood that what is considered free by any measure is not free by any measure.
Somebody else is paying for it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
I think it's funny that I've made more money off of buying one single Rumble stock
yeah,
than I have on all my streams. And it was funny too, is like I bought it when I first started streaming and I was like, okay. So I did my very first stream and I had a max viewer count of 11. And I'm like, whoa, this is
yeah,
way better than I ever thought. Like I thought I was gonna have like nobody. So I'm like,
yeah,
I hit 11. So I made a post about it. I'm like, here's the deal. Every time I set a personal best for concurrent number of live viewers, I'm gonna buy another share of Rumble.
yeah.
Right? I have not hit 11 since. So I still only have my one share, and that's it.
I bounce around all over the place, and sometimes it's dependent on the person coming of the draw. But at the end of the day, I'm not. I still am not interested in playing the game of you got to talk about the topic of the day or whatever to get the notice or whatnot. I
Yeah,
just don't want to play that game.
neither do I. And
But
I think that's my main problem too in driving viewers, right? Is everyone's watching Call of Duty and Fortnite, right? Like those are the big drivers in the gaming space, and I'm just like, I don't want to be another guy playing COD, right? I want to play really good games. Like my whole thing when I kind of got back into gaming, which was during the pandemic, right?
no,
Those dreaded years.
yep,
Um, and that's when I got into PC gaming actually,
mm,
was going on Steam and be like, this game is rated overwhelmingly positive. I've never heard of it before. It's on sale 70% off. I'll give it a try and being like,
mm,
holy crap, this game is amazing, right?
mm,
And being like, there's so many amazing games out there that don't get the airtime they deserve, I guess is what we'll say, right? Like, and it's like I want to share these with people, like um, some of the great ones I've played, like Stardew Valley is amazing.
yeah,
Subnautica was another one of my favorite games of all time.
yep,
Outer Wilds was amazing. And Outer Wilds, like I literally bought it because it was rated like overwhelmingly positive and everyone says it's amazing. So I was like,
yeah,
okay, I'll give it a try. Um, Sekiro Shadows Died Twice was overwhelmingly positive. I
mm,
played a couple of those really unknown ones like Neon White is rated overwhelmingly positive.
mm,
There's so many gems of games that nobody gets to see, and just they're
mm.
not nobody watches them, and I don't know of anybody streaming them. So I'm like, I want to play them. I love them. I want to share it. Like let's play some really cool games together.
All right, there's your link.
Beautiful.
I guess I can no. Um, trying to copy link address, and I'll put it on the Rumble side as well. There we go.
Yeah.
There we go. It's on the Rumble side. But yeah, again, understandable. Like, look at Geek Story, and he's given his thing with Marvel Rivals. And yeah, even Dr. Disrespect now left me going, oh, maybe I don't stream that. Well, and that's understandable too, but you shouldn't stop. If you want to play the game, just play the game. For me, I don't stream. I used to stream games in the beginning, trying to find out what I wanted to do with this, but I don't do that anymore. I don't stream games. I play games. Of course, I played Fortnite. I've played the new stuff. I play different other games because my Steam library is huge, and I barely go back to any of them. But I'm mostly
Everybody's
busy.
Steam library is huge.
Yeah, I barely have time doing a game, and I go through this, and it is what it is. But at the end of the day, my thing has always been about, you know what? If you enjoy doing that thing, like you said, the hobby, just enjoy doing it, because maybe 1% of out of the whole people even get up to that point of making a living out of it. And then if there are 10 people streaming, I'd almost rather play in private. It's not like I want to play the game, just maybe not live. Yeah, exactly. You
Yeah.
don't have to play it live.
That's totally fair.
Yeah. But yeah, I just do this thing because I enjoy doing it. It's sort of like that thing as a kid, or as an adult trying to find what you want to do with your life, and it's sort of just through a process of elimination, just kind of up and saying, here it is. And while I do have a job to take care of my bills, this is the thing I'd rather be doing. But it's not going to pay any bills anytime soon. But I'm always appreciative of people who come and all this stuff. But it is, again, power hour time, and is the 2-hour mark. So I think we're gonna end it here, because I do have to get going to bed soon, and of course I have to set up tomorrow's stream, so it's always the fun stuff. But anyway, guys.
Absolutely.
But anyway, before we do that, oh, that's right. Here you go. There's the
There we go.
LOTR.
Trailer Park AI.
I will copy that link address, and I will put.
I was just gonna add on to what you were just saying too. Like with myself, is I'm playing a game. Like my logic is, I'm playing a game. I might as well stream it, and I have fun streaming it. Right, viewers or not, I think it's really cool, and I have a lot of fun with it, and that's why I'm here for it. Right, like I'm here to have fun, and I hope that some people that tune in and watch, get some enjoyment out of it. The only thing I really wish for at this point is I would love to get some interactions in the chat. I don't get much, if any, which is fine. Like I'm not. Some people like to be obligated to say something to me, but like I would love to interact in the chat a little bit. So if there's anybody that's watching that tunes into any of my stuff later on, like please send a message. I'm happy to interact with each and every one of you. So that's what we're here for. We're here to have fun and to chat and share experiences. So it's a good time. I really like it. I'm really happy that I'm doing it, and really happy I'm here with you right now, and that we got to have this great chat too. So again, thank you so much for having me.
Now sell yourself again. Now you got to sell yourself.
No, I was gonna say I'll come back anytime. You need a spot to fill, you just shoot me a message. Happy to come back. I got lots of stuff we could still talk about. But yeah, and if anybody who wants to check out my stuff, even give me pointers, like I'm open to it. But yeah, hit up the chat. I'm Slinger92 on X, and Slinger Games here on Rumble. I mean, it's in the description below.
Yep.
As you do with everybody. And honestly, to anyone watching that likes the video or follows me or whatever, thank you from the bottom of my heart. It means so much that you think I'm worthy of that. So thank you to everybody. All I have is thanks. Like, that's really all I can say.
Yeah, there you go. Slinger link. Yep. Thank you for that, Daveyverse.
Thanks, Davey.
Because I do post on both ends, because I only stream to both Rumble and YouTube, because that's all the mental capacity I can handle at this point in time. Even though I'm using Rumble Studio, I could do more. It's just a lot more work.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, for my end of things, whether on the Rumble side, whether on the YouTube side, if you wouldn't mind leaving a like, sharing the content, leaving a comment or follow. Or Rumble, you can repost now. Any or all of it helps greatly with the not only the being seen by people's side, but it also helps with having people on as guests, because again, Slinger Games saw me on a stream, said hello, I'd like to come on, and I said, you know what, I haven't had enough Canadian people on before. I think I'll bring you on. But no.
don't even think you knew I was Canadian at that point
No, I
either.
didn't. I'm just making that up. But the point of the matter is that again, I do this thing because I didn't see a lot of the creators I was following do something like this. They're all talking about something completely different, and I do believe that it's something that's missing from just. I mean, you just saw 2 hours of us go all over the place and talking about whatever, and that's what I'd rather go for instead of like, oh, guess what the topic of today is? Nothing.
Yeah.
And it's sort of
Joe Rogan of Rumble, everybody.
Oh, I'm not even that far up. He got paid 250 million by Spotify, so here's hoping. Here's
Yeah,
hoping I
you'll
get.
get there. You'll get there. You'll get there.
Spotify
Everybody,
needed.
he's gonna set up a Patreon soon.
Yeah.
I mean,
No.
realistically, I mean, I know it's more work to put on your plate, but you could very easily turn this into an audio format and make it a podcast too, and put it on
Well,
those platforms.
technically it is kind of podcast form, but it's not just only audio form only. And that's probably what I think you're talking about. But I think people like to see the facial thing a bit more
Oh yeah,
because you can hear from a voice, but when you can't see it, that's sort of that missing there.
no,
But
totally fair. But I can tell you with confidence for myself,
mm,
uh, if you were on Spotify, I would listen to you on my commute. I would 100% tune into your if it was a podcast.
I'll have to look on how to do that then, because it'd just be me uploading old ones. But anyway,
No, but that's okay. That's fine. They're still good conversations, right?
yeah,
I think it'd be a great thing to do.
it'd
Not
just
to
be
put
out
not to
of
put more on your plate, but I
yeah,
mean,
it'd just
just
be out of order. Yeah, it'd just be out of order. It's like, what is this one? It's not even order. It's like, well, I'm not gonna start in order because it's too much work. It's too much work, and I gotta download them to, because I think you can watch video podcasts there too on Spotify as well, but I'm not too sure.
yes, you can. Yeah,
Mm.
you can.
But anyway, any help with the engagement factors on either Rumble or YouTube is much appreciated because again, not only helps in being seen, but also helping have other people on, and that's the journey part right there. The next milestone is 200 different guests, and I'm at a little over 130. So we'll see what next year brings for that. Also, there's a link down below if you want to see where else I'm at. It's down in the description. Of course, like with Slinger stuff. You can, if you'd like to take up the opportunity to come on, like Slinger did to come on, you can leave a comment in either Rumble or YouTube, or go down the link below, find me at my places, and go from there. Because at the end of the day, guys, this is not just a creator thing or whatever. This is about a person-to-person thing, talking across the table. You go to that diner you always go to, those old-timey diners, and you just have a table and you have hot chocolate, whatever, and sit across the way. Mean Green. Yeah, I know you can't say Rumble in the YouTube chat, but I give a rat's behind about that. Well, and that's also why I use like a
That's an
link.
Insta ban. Don't say Rumble in the YouTube chat.
Uh, F them. But anyway, there you go for that. Well, and yeah, and that's why I use like a link tree thing too, because that just gets around it. You puts all your stuff in one area.
Yeah.
But yes, where was that? But yes, tomorrow. That's right. Got a few things before we go. Tomorrow at 7 p.m. Chrono is on. Of course, again, last time Chrono was on, it was sort of like a trifer, me, Tomby, and Chrono. So I really didn't get to have him on one-to-one like I was hoping for, but I will this time. So I'm looking forward to that. So Chrono, if you're seeing this, I'm watching you, buddy. No.
No, great dude. Chrono, don't show me up. Have a good show. Don't show me up. No, I'm just kidding. He's
great.
gonna show me up. He's gonna show me up. He's
Chrono, if you listen to him, I won't respect you anymore. No.
No, he's a solid dude. He is a great guy. You'll have a great show with him.
He's one of the few content creators I know that are trying to create family-friendly content. I had a father and daughter streamer on called Heck in the Y, and they're trying to be family-friendly and all this sort of stuff. So it's all right tomorrow.
Yeah, and I'm that to an extent too. Like, not that I'm trying to boost myself here, but
Yeah.
I've got a clean mouth on me. The games I play may not necessarily be kid friendly. Like, you're not going to want to watch kids, or you're not going to want kids watching Sekiro necessarily.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to be playing real raunchy stuff, violent and bloody maybe. But yeah, there's not going to be any cursing or swearing going on my content. So I'm in Chrono's camp with that, and I have much respect for him for that, because I feel like that is a big rarity in the world these days.
That's what, and plus that just goes with your Canadian side. There you go.
Oh no, the Canadians swear a lot. I'm gonna send you a link. There's this video. It's called "Out for a Rip." It's this Canadian band, and they're just talking about like taking a truck out in the mud, and it's like,
Yeah.
"Just out for a rip, are you, bud?" Right? Like,
Yeah.
and, there's a lot of F-bombs in that
Goodness.
video, but it's like, it is the most stereotypical Canadian, like, song video thing you'll ever see.
Yeah, no, that's pretty awesome. Yeah, I'll look forward to that. But again, tomorrow 7 p.m. Eastern with Chrono, and of course, as always, we end with the one more thing is questions from a hat,
I was hoping I
which
would get those. I was like, "Please don't forget the hat. I want some rapid fire questions."
unfortunately you only get two because if people want more than the two that come out the hat, you got to give a rant. Sorry, YouTube side, just not
Oh,
monetized over there
come
because
on,
I don't have
Rumble,
enough
don't let
people.
me down. I love questions.
And
I
so, but
love being
yes,
grilled.
all right, let's go for the first one. We'll
You
see
know
what this.
how calm I am with getting grilled with questions? My wife is the 11th of 12 kids, and
Oh
all
wow.
4 of her sisters, the first time I met her family, like, sat me down and grilled me. Like,
Mm.
as, "What do you do for work? What's your intention? Blah, blah." And I was just like, fired it off real quick.
Clownage, money, cans. I think I did that in the wrong order. Anyway, here's the first one.
All right, let's do it.
Let's see what it says. And I hate that post-it note stickiness. Oh, here we go. What's a childhood memory? Well, you probably already went through this. What's a childhood memory that still makes you smile?
Oh, man. There's going to be a lot of those. To pick one specific one.
Just
First
the
one that comes to mind,
yeah.
at the family cottage, my dad had his BB gun that he got as a kid. It was the only present his father, so my opa, ever gave to him. And it's this little pump action BB gun that's got a stamp made in USSR. So, like, not in
Ooh.
Russia, it was USSR. And my youngest brother jammed it, and it, like, wouldn't load or whatever. So we're playing with it, and I finally got it to pump, and I put it at the ground, pull the trigger, nothing comes out. I go, "Oh, that BB is still jammed in there." And then pump it again, and my dad walks in. He goes, "What are you guys doing? Like, why do you have that in the house?" I'm like, "It's jammed. It won't fire. Watch." And I pull the trigger, and it shoots and puts a hole right through the drywall, right above a light switch. And I get the dirtiest look from my dad, and he's like, and I'm just like, "I just
Oh
shot a hole in
no.
your drywall."
Oh
And
man.
then he was like, walks over, grabs a pencil, writes on the wall above the hole, "Don't shoot in the house." And
Yeah.
grabs the gun and takes it outside. It was just like a little BB gun. It wouldn't have hurt anybody, right? But it's just like that look of horror when it's like, I just shot a hole in the wall, and
Yep.
my dad's right there.
Yep. Well,
It makes me laugh.
now you learn what happens when a lot of pressure. You pump it too much, and there's a lot of pressure for
Yeah.
that. So it goes up in a hole in the wall, basically.
Yep.
At least it didn't lead to a horror movie where then you see a clown's face in the hole in the wall. It's like,
Yeah.
come on.
Like, well, time to move.
I don't like that clown makeup there. It looks pretty bad. All right, here's the last one, unless someone wants to give a rumble rant. And this one is, what's the most absurd thing you believed as a child?
Oh, this is a good one. This is a no-brainer. There was a YouTube video of these people that were running on water. And they went over the science of it, everything, on how if you run and you put a slight curve to your steps and like run at a slight arc and you move your feet fast enough, the surface tension will actually hold you up momentarily. And it's this video, and they're running like 20, 30 feet out into the water.
Yeah.
And I wholeheartedly believed it as a kid and convinced my brothers and a buddy that it was true, because I was 100% in on it. I was like, how cool would it be if we actually learn how to run on water? Like, we could totally do this. So whenever we were at the family cottage, we spent hours just running full speed into the lake, trying to run on the water and just like falling and face planting and like getting soaked and cold. And my parents just like would sit there and laugh and watch us, and they're like, guys, it's impossible. I'm like, no, I watched the video. There's the science. It's true. And turns out that video was actually an ad for some sort of athletic shoe that's like waterproof. And they had built a platform under the water. So that's why they were running on a curve. So they would start on the platform and slowly run off of it, and that's when they would fall through the water. And I was fully committed, and my siblings still don't let me forget about that.
Yeah, and he
Yeah,
said
see,
yes.
Davey remembers that one.
But when it's a commercial about shoes, and the point of it was to sell the shoes, you're like, no, I can run on water, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, it was
But the
about
thing was, I
shoes.
didn't see the commercial, right? Like, it wasn't a
Oh,
commercial I saw on TV. I saw the YouTube video that
mm.
left out the commercial part. It
Ah,
was just like these people, like, we figured out how we can run on water, and here's how it's done, and everything. And I fully bought in. I was 100% in on that. And now I just look back and I'm like, oh man, I was such a stupid teenager.
maybe you should learn how to fly in water. That might work.
Yeah.
I'm flying. Nope, not really flying. Um, but yeah, that goodness sake, I can't imagine the amount of people try to do something like. I remember when kids would try to fight like Power Rangers, and that didn't end up very well. So
Yeah.
we have stuff like that too. But anyway, guys, that is the end of the show for tonight. Of course, because I do have to get stuff for tomorrow set up before I leave, and it usually doesn't take me very long. So like I use Canva for my thumbnails, 5 or 10 minutes, and then of course I kind of use Claude to kind of help me with stuff. But then after that, I kind of just boom, boom, boom. I can get one set up within a 30 minutes to 45 minutes for the next stream over. But it's
Geekstorian, thank you. I'm sorry, I cut you off again. I'm
no,
just trying to say
no.
thank you to the people hitting up the chat.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Geek Storying. Yep. Thank you guys for being here.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate you all. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, as always, as I've ended the show, I end it with. Oh, hold on, I gotta get there first.
We gonna raid somebody? Can we raid to end the show, or is that not something that you like to do on your
Yeah,
show?
yeah. I just tend to forget. But hold on, I can go
Let's
to.
raid somebody while you're searching. If you don't mind, if I take
Mhm.
the mic for a second, to everybody who watched, thank you very much for tuning in and thinking that I'm a worthy guest to watch. From the bottom of my heart, thank you guys. Very Merry Christmas to all of you. Especially to you, Dara, because I doubt we will talk before Christmas. Enjoy your time off. Thank you for having me. And yes, I say Merry Christmas because the holiday is called Christmas. So
Mhm.
I will say it as such. But just
Thank you.
thank you, thank you. It's been a
You're
great
welcome.
time. I hope I can come on again someday.
Oh, yeah, you will.
And Merry Christmas to everybody. Thank you for watching. Honestly, such appreciated.
No
Um,
problem. I'm glad I was able to have you on because I mean, don't ever think you're not worth it enough to do so, because that's a fool's dream, because I don't play that game. So that's not why I don't do it, because I look for the worthy. I look for the people who want to take up the opportunity. I've had some people who flaked on me, like 1 or 2 people that flaked, but at the end of the day, more than not, those people that flaked are outdone by all the people who actually take the opportunity to come on and do it again as well. So, but anyway, I got the next person up for that, and hopefully this will work. But I think we'll raid that person. Oh,
uh-oh.
it happened again. All right. Well,
Oh. I was gonna say I'm the host now. It's my show. All right, where are we going?
you think so? But anyway, I do have the link in the chat, so there's that. I didn't even notice I got off. I was like, I was wondering why I was quiet. I was like, oh, son of a bit. But anyway, so we'll raid. We'll raid and do endo duo. I can't remember if I said it right. But anyway, guys, as always, we're gonna end with One Day with You by Pogo. Hope you have a great night. See you tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern. Oh, and don't forget to mute your mic. I'll do it once I get the music video started. But yes, 7 p.m. Eastern tomorrow with Chrono. Have a great night, and don't what's a good Canadian saying to end out with? What would be a good Canadian saying? Don't.
Keep your stick on the ice.
Oh, there you go. That's keep your stick on the ice. If you don't have a
Keep your
stick,
stick on the ice, everybody.
if you can't keep your stick on the ice, then yeah, I don't know if you would. See you later.
Merry Christmas, everybody. Bye.
Bye. Ow.